Okay. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of WhickTV, a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious, and we have a show for you today. First of all, thank you all for being here. No-Cal Mike, Crawl the Wall, Omnipotent Rift, 𝕾𝖍𝖎𝖙, nice to see you. All good. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for the the watch streaks. That's a new one. Thank you. But today, oh, Kamikaze, also nice to see you. But today we are going to be talking about honor, and we are going to be talking about whether or not women have any. Um, are they simply exploitive leeches that drain us of all of our sustenance, vitality, and will to and our happiness? I don't know. We'll find out. I don't know. But today we have Zerze and we have Ruby here to debate this topic. And I guess we'll start by asking Zerze what exactly you mean when you say women have no honor, please.
Right. So essentially, what I am describing by honor is a code of conduct, basically, between two people. A kind of sort of moral framework, at the very least, that has an understanding that when someone does something for you, then there should be some type of compulsion to kind of give it back, right? So when you say like in a marriage, right, you honor your vows, right? It's you understand that you have a responsibility to the other person. It's basically a more colloquial way or layman's way of describing it. Basically, it's a known understanding of obligations to another person, right? So when you say I honor my agreements, right, we're going to use as a definition, right? I honor the fact that I said I'm going to do something for Jeremy, so it's basically to that extent. So when I say a lot of women have no honor, I mean they don't feel any compulsion to reciprocate towards men. And if you guys caught that last stream I was on last Wednesday, you find it really interesting that whenever I kind of point out that there's always social obligations for men. For example, we protect strangers. And if I even suggest that women should be nice to us, people got upset about that. And lots of women, I was just watching another stream, say that they have no obligation to be nice to men that approach them. They have no obligation to be kind to men that try to, date them. None at all. So they don't feel, just for one example, we can get into more later, that they should reciprocate or give to young men in society. So
Okay. Well, with that and those stakes laid out, Ruby, what are your thoughts on this? Do women lack honor?
No, I find the proposition to be absolutely absurd, outrageous, and not based in reality whatsoever. If
Mhm.
you look at just basic crime stats of how men behave, I don't think that is something that's portraying uh, honor. And honor, in my definition, would be like a commitment to a moral code and, yeah, a sense of obligation and duty to your fellow human. So it just seems so overwhelmingly obvious that women are the ones who tend to fulfill that obligation to family. And we're the ones who aren't out there raping, murdering, committing 80% of violence is committed by men. So it just what is your fact-finding process that would lead you to that besides talking to the kind of girls who would maybe be on whatever podcast?
ironically enough, it's actually not even about women I find on the whatever podcast. It's kind of women that I met growing up interpersonally. Like I've never read The Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi, but I already understand a lot of the red pill philosophy, a lot of the praxeologies he calls it, all this different stuff. Why? Because I've just experienced it. I think one interesting thing that we kind of have to just kind of get off the table, right, is criminality. Criminality is actually incredibly
Convenient.
rare in
Continue.
humans. No, but this is really important though, right? Because criminality is very
Yeah,
rare in
reality
humans.
and facts are really
And
important. I'm sorry.
no, it is, right? So criminals
But let's
make
just
up
eliminate that.
probably
Let's continue.
less than like 1% of the population. And that includes all the rapists, all the murderers, all the arsonists, all the thieves. They actually don't they're not reflective, right, of the human condition or the will for humans to like hurt each other or take from each other. So what we can't really do in this conversation is take the fact that more men commit violent crimes than women. That might be true, but just because more men commit violent crimes than women doesn't mean that that's one, reflective of men generally, and two, doesn't reflect that men generally don't have any honor. So we have to say criminals are criminals. And more than that, just because men have more honor than women doesn't mean that there aren't some men that don't have honor. There's plenty of men who don't have honor, and we beat them up, we fight them. Like, men understand that they're evil men. That's not a novel concept, but it's important to not pretend that they reflect generally how men operate.
If I may
Cool.
interject, in that case, Xerxes,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't you say though that what we're doing by highlighting the honorless women is we are generalizing and painting with too broad of a brush? Why can we ignore the criminality in one case, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we shouldn't ignore the whatever podcast girls or what have you.
Mm-hmm. So the whatever podcast girls aren't criminals. They also are pretty reflective of a lot of ladies you'll meet. Now, not the OnlyFans girls, but like the normal ladies who will say easily that they will bring up a roster. The ladies who believe that men should pay on the first date, they should be traditional, but they should not reflect traditional values or expectations as a lady in turn, right? For example, I'll give you a good example. So this 𝕻𝖎𝖙 was on the whatever podcast. I think this is a pretty great example, where she was discussing that if she meets a dude and she doesn't think that there's gonna be a long term relationship, she'll just have sex with this guy, right? She'll just have sex with him and be done with it. But if there's another dude that she does think that she's gonna have a long engagement with, she will wait to have sex with him, right? She'll wait, she'll string him along, right? So essentially, what she's explaining is that she's using sex as a bargaining chip, right? When there's no further engagement, I'll just give it up, fine. But when there can be further engagement, I'm gonna keep him around. I'm gonna use him if I feel like I can. He's the dude I should be with. Then I'll have sex with him, right? So to me, that's a great example of not maintaining honor, because you don't have the same set of criteria and expectations. Even for the man you actually want a long-term relationship with, you're just going to use the one man for sex, or you're going to string along the other man because you think that he can't actually have a relationship with you without it. So this is a good example, I think, off the top of my head there. She's not special in that regard. I've again, not even women from the whatever, not even OnlyFans girls. I've heard just normal women. Dating apps. I've talked to them. That's how they operate. That's not that's not OnlyFans.
I don't think that dating apps are representative. Like most, I mean, it is becoming more and more common for people to meet online, but that kind of meat market where it's just going picture by picture, of course, that's the most shallow, kind of like hollow kind of mating strategy that we have, but obviously it's inevitable with technology. But I I just think it's interesting that you talk about how we can't talk about the minority of men doing things, but you will bring up this like facetious, like imaginary straw man woman, which perhaps could be. I'm not gonna say that women don't do horrible shit. We absolutely do, and I would agree. Women do avoid accountability. But here's my thing is that's human behavior. All these negative traits that you're describing are typical run-of-the-mill, shitty, normal human behavior that's featured in both sexes about equally. So I don't like playing this male versus women thing. I would rather find commonality and move forward. But if you want to play that game, you guys
Well, we have
lose.
to.
Because if you look at the
No.
reality, you guys are the ones who are not respecting honor by the only way that we can quantify. I don't know how else
But
you'd
that
quantify
isn't.
that
But that
aside from
isn't
your
true.
anecdotal
Well, let
experiences.
her finish and you can go. Okay,
Mhm.
go ahead, respond.
No, I'm just
Mhm.
saying, if we take out, how else would you quantify moral behavior if we can't even talk about like well, how else would you so are we just
Well,
do we wanna take any objective facts out of this conversation, just talk about our experiences?
well,
Because 'Cause I'm
there's
fine
still
with
there's
that
still
too, but it's
objective.
just a
Your
different
experience is an
conversation.
objective. No, your experience is an objective fact. It doesn't. For example, right? A lot of people like to bring this up, but if you were to get a statistic or a questionnaire, all it is just a whole bunch of people answering a question based on a sample, then dividing who answered what question to
Okay,
give us a
Lauren
percentage.
Southern.
That's what a statistic is. I mean, right? There's very many problems. I dislike statistics. I was having a conversation with someone the other day about this. The reason why I dislike statistics is because there always seems to be one statistic that can counteract the other. There's always people having to look at this information and then they want to pull out what they want out of it. So to me, what's best to discuss are indeed the human experiences, because those are the real people. They're the individuals that were living. They're the people that had their relationships. Those are the people that were actually talking. So we're actually talking about this. You say I created this straw man of a woman, this fictional woman. I cannot agree with this sentiment. Why? Because I have talked to and have tried to have relationships and have had some relationships with women who operate as I have described. More than that, not just me, but there are many other people. So to me, here's what I like to do, and I could be wrong here, but it's pretty similar to coming up with the statistic, and that is I look at a description of behaviors. And if I can find it consistent, if I can then become predictable, as in if I can predict this is how the thing is going to happen, it's safe to say that it's true. So if I can predict that a woman, if she doesn't get the spark, right? If she doesn't get the 𝕾𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜, there's something so great about this man, no prior date will continue. That's game, set, match. You're either in or out. If I can predict that over a period of time with a strong 85% success rate, I think I can say it's generally true. And I say that it is generally true. That's the current state of affairs in this one regard, at least, when it comes to the male female relationship. But we're kind of going a little bit off of honor, but hopefully you understand why experiences are far more important to me than some statistics.
Is definitely enlightening to see how you acquire your opinions and that you don't like statistics, you
Mhm.
don't think they're valid, you think anything. It's true. To an extent, yes, there are competing statistics, and like obviously the epistemology is fucking crazy, and trying to decipher reality is a very difficult thing that we're all trying to do to the best of our ability. I believe that you're trying to do that. I'm trying to do that. But I wouldn't say that all research in statistics is useless because they have a methodology. They have like double blind studies. Things are tested to the best of our ability. Yes, it's not the hard sciences, and social science have a huge like replication issue, and there's many things with that. But we can draw these very large patterns when we look at like meta-analysis over broad periods of time. We can see, and actually I looked at a couple studies about the difference in moral behavior between the sexes, and based on a meta-analysis of like 200 different studies over a span of 20 years, it actually shows that women tend to be more um, ethically minded and more considerate of
Can you
people.
can you
And
give
that
us an example of
I
that,
don't
Ruby?
believe
I'm
that.
sorry.
Yeah,
Hold on,
I
just
don't
real quick.
believe
Stop,
that.
stop. I wanna
Mhm.
I wanna know what you mean when you say ethically minded. Can you give us an example? What you're talking about,
I
Ruby?
say more likely to have a like a strong moral compass that guides them in their actions is probably what I mean.
Yeah, but what
Mhm.
does that mean? Is what I'm trying to get at. Like, so in an
So
example would be what
of a moral compass,
of
it would be like, for
a
example, for
woman.
me, I'm
Yeah,
a woman having a moral
yeah.
compass. Well, for example, me, I'm vegetarian. So that is based on my reasoning, my perception of reality, my empathy. I come to conclusions and I try to modify my behavior in a way that reduces suffering overall and contributes to overall flourishing of beings. Does that answer your question?
Sure. Um.
Mhm.
Okay. I guess.
I,
Oh, go on, Cersei.
Well, the reason why I would want to push back on that is because the vast majority of people not only have just written books, but who are currently discussing terms of ethics and moralities currently anywhere on the internet, and even just in just interpersonal relationships, we can go there, have been men. It's not really women having these discussions on morality. It's not really women who even discuss the concept of honor. In fact, here's an interesting thing. I actually did a super chat into the Whatever podcast to ask one of the girls there, um, how come honor and virtue aren't the most important thing to you when you're trying to have sex with a man? Why even have sex with them? The
Why
women there
would you ask
were
that on
just
the
blanked.
whatever podcast? Like,
The point that, well, one, for content, I am going to make a video where I discuss it, but also
for
for
content, not
two,
for fact
because
finding.
it's not even about fact finding, right? It's about taking the idea and the concept and trying to get women to wrestle with it and challenge it. And so I really want you to kind of challenge this, right? Because what you're saying is that women are honorable people. Okay, well, where do we see that? Where do we find that? Where do we find the honor in women
Can I
in
just interject
relation
really
to
quickly?
men? Mhm.
Interject really quickly, because no, I don't think that women are any more necessarily intrinsically more honorable than men. But when you look at the data, we do generally have more empathetic. And if you just look at human behavior overall, I think that's reflective of
How
those
about this?
values.
How about this? Ruby, can you give us an example of a woman behaving honorably?
A woman behaving honorably would be,
Yep.
maybe staying true to her marriage and like if they were tempted by a partner but they had made a commitment to their husband, it would be
Mhm.
honorable to honor that commitment and be very dishonorable to cheat and lie.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So let's ask an interesting question, right? What is the ultimate vow of a marriage?
Till death do us part.
That's right. Okay. So then what percentage between men and women initiate the divorce process more?
70%. I know.
Okay, so it's women, right? So the question is, just in the terms of like honoring your marriage to a man, overwhelmingly, women are the ones initiating leaving those
You want to know
marriages,
why?
right? So let's talk about why.
Sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. So men are twice as likely to cheat on their partners, and then also women typically handle the household affairs. I know when my parents got divorced, my dad couldn't even figure out how to fucking file divorce. That tends to be the activities that women take on as the
Why
one who
would that make a
handles
woman leave?
household affairs more
Why would that make a
traditionally.
woman leave? Why would a woman leave a man because
Infidelity because
he's not doing? Oh no, no,
they
I get
broke the
yeah,
vows of their
infidelity.
marriage.
That makes perfect sense, right? Which it is tough to say which person cheats more. Again, I've seen
Men,
conflicting statistics. See, that's the problem. Again, I've seen conflicting
absolutely
statistics.
men.
But let's. Well, here's the thing, right? Number one, if it is the case, right, that men cheat more than women, and that's why they're getting their divorces. One, you would think that infidelity would always be extremely high on the reasons why divorce even is filed, except it's not. What's the number one reason why divorce is filed are irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
If that be the case, if it is indeed the case that women are leaving because their husbands are cheating on them so much, why is that not the number one reason to be discussed? To me,
Well, there's
it would
also
appear that that's just not true, or at least that's not the reason why they're leaving.
So what do you just think it's because women intrinsically don't have the same like you still are on stuck on,
Well,
thinking
it's
that
not about
women
intrinsic. It's not intrinsic at all. Actually, I think we can trace it back to the advent of feminism as a concept. The advent of feminism as a
here we go.
concept, quote unquote, is about the equality of the sexes. Well, here's
Mhm. The
there's
legal
really
and
big problems
social
here.
equality of the sexes, not
There
actual
is no
literal.
there is no social equality though, because as a man, if I ask you out on a date, there's this expectation that I'm supposed to pay. So let's use the whatever
That's not what the
podcast because we
conversation's about. It isn't
but
about
it is. But it is. It's a great example of a lack of honor, right? So again, let's use the whatever podcast as a pretty good example of this, right? You know, Brian would always would ask them, who should pay on the first date? And I say the person who asks. And I say, well, do you usually ask? And they say no. And it's like, okay, that's very convenient that you never asked to go on a date. But the man who has the social expectation of going up to ask is the one that also has the social expectation of having to pay money. Here's a really interesting thing. A lot of people don't actually think about the concept of why men pay women on dates. That's just something we accept. We just accept it, right? No one really stops and breaks this down. If you
yeah,
trace
I
back
do.
the
It's broken down
history
many times.
of dating, right? Dating wasn't really even a thing that we did last 50, 60, 70 odd years ago. Most people either got married through friends, got married through arranged marriages. It was in their community. Going out on dates was something that kind of came around with the rise of the suburbs, all that kind of stuff, like that change in culture. The reason why men paid on dates was because men were the ones that had money. A lot of women didn't have jobs. That's all it was. It wasn't that men were supposed to pay, it was that men were the only ones who could pay. That's all that was. If you look at how modernity talks about dating and relationships now, there's supposed to be social equality between men and women, but women still have the expectation that men have to pay. Where is the honor, right? And reciprocating that to these young men and say, well, I have a job too. How about we just pay for what we ate?
Speaking of
I pay
paying,
for what I ate, you pay what you ate.
speaking of paying, $2 from Darius say I'm not going to say it, and then another $2 from the same person to say men and women report infidelity at the same rate.
That's
Like I said, I've seen
I
conflicting stuff. I didn't.
I think, I mean, if you just look who has the higher sex drive. Look at the whole porn, the sex industry, escorts.
Mhm.
It's all men who really do deal with a higher temptation in that regard. Men are hornier than women, so they deal with a higher
Women could
temptation
just
level, and
have
I
sex with
empathize
those
with that.
men, though. I don't understand. Why don't women just have sex with their husbands and they won't cheat?
I mean, that would be
How many
ideal,
men
but
complain
humans
about their
are
sexlessness?
complicated.
But see, there's a really big interesting problem that I see. A lot of people don't discuss this, especially when we talk about the incel problem. Is we look at the lonely man in his basement, he Cheeto dust, and he's so weird, awkward, and strange, and say, okay, that's easy. How many men are married and cannot even get a hug, a peck on the cheek from their wife? Whole community of men on Reddit, dead bedrooms. Now there are some women there too, obviously, right? But overwhelmingly, it's young men. There's something going on
Because
where
they're
a
hornier.
man gets
They have a higher
married,
sex drive.
but well, that's the issue, right? Because if it is the case that they're hornier, why is there no sex
Hold
at
on.
all
Are
from their
they?
wife?
Like, you guys are both assuming this is true. I don't know that
Well,
that's
I'll
true.
grant
I
it.
don't know if men are hornier than women. I just don't.
I don't know either. I'll
I
grant
don't
it though
know if
for the
that's
sake of
true. Do you guys
conversation.
have anything to back that up? Like, that's something that people say, but
Well, if
I've
you
seen
look at
some
the
It is.
pretty
clientele
horny
as
women.
Mhm.
yeah, absolutely. But look, if you look at the clientele, I was a former OnlyFans model. I did not have a single
Mhm.
woman ever pay me to do anything remotely sexual ever. 100% men. It's
Mhm.
overwhelming.
But
The
here's
fact
but
that we can
again,
even
but
dispute
but you're
that to
not.
me is
Yeah, but you're not contesting. Is the question that men are coming to you because they're hornier than women, or because they have no woman at all? There's no woman at all in order to satisfy them. Of course they came to you. That seems pretty logical to me. That doesn't really answer whether they're hornier. If there's no outlet for them, so
well,
they
also
came to
they have higher
you. That
testosterone,
seems
which
pretty normal.
increases sex drive. This is just known. I don't.
I'll look.
You
Like I said,
really think that?
I'll grant it to you
You
100%.
really
Men,
think that we're equally horny? There's no disparity in, like, who goes to see prostitutes or, like,
this is
who
on
goes
Wick.
to
This
the
is on
strip
Wick. This
club.
I don't. I grant
Look,
that
I
to you.
will Google
It's.
it while you guys talk, but I
Um,
know that
Please.
women
I don't think
tend
it
to at
changes anything
least.
though.
I need
Okay,
to
I'll
also your
say
homework
this is
too.
I don't know this is true, but this is what I've always heard. So please don't crucify me if this is wrong. That the older women get, the hornier they get, and men
I
again, it's
understand.
pretty the
Mm.
Yeah,
opposite.
that
But I don't know. I'll
Well,
Google
no,
it.
that's probably true, but even at their least horny, they're still hornier than women. It's overwhelming.
I'll give it to you. It doesn't change the sexlessness
Okay,
of these
so
young men.
first Google result. So take it with a grain of salt. According to a recent meta-analysis of 211 studies with over 600,000 participants, we
Oh,
have
that's
a
a lot.
better understanding of how men and women differ when it comes to primal urges. The study, published in Psychological Bulletin, found that men have a substantially stronger sex drive than women. So, to Ruby's point, it seems to be backed up by the data. Go ahead.
Well, but we know he doesn't like data, so
No, it's not
you
about me.
know.
I have literally conceded maybe 5 times that men are
Mhm.
probably hornier than I've conceded that. It's fine for
Right.
sake of conversation. Even if it's 100, I don't care. The point is, in a marriage, men are
Mhm.
sexless. A lot of men, a lot more men,
That's
overwhelmingly than
that's
women, are sexless. That's not a horny disparity, right? That's the woman refusing to have sex at all.
why do you think that is?
I think it's because the woman didn't like the men to begin with. I think in a lot of
Then
cases,
why
women
would they
they
commit
settle
to
for
marry
men
them?
because they get a lot of benefits from having a man in their life that they don't even
Yeah.
necessarily have to reciprocate. This being a great example of a lack of honor, right? A man cannot just decide that he doesn't want to take care of his family anymore. Not only is that just going to destroy his
Well,
family,
trust me, they
but the
do
woman is just going to
often.
leave, right? And that is the case, right? But again, the woman will divorce him, will leave. Goodbye, see you later. Yeah, as she probably should in some of those cases if he's truly that neglectful, right? Men, on the other hand, as we saw in the dead bedroom thing, will just stake it out with that woman for 10 years. I've seen some posts for 10 years to just didn't have sex with that woman, right? So to me, it would appear that men are going to adhere to the vow that they were given. Women, on the other hand, a lot of the times they say, I got a headache. I don't care. I don't feel like it. Again, to their husband, the man that they vowed to be with forever, and then get upset when he cheats. Which, in one hand, she shouldn't be upset. On the other hand, it's like I don't understand how you deny someone for 10 years and then be like, oh no, he cheated. They just a bit befuddling to me. I imagine that you would suspect that he would eventually do
Okay,
that if that was
so
the case.
just to clarify things, Zerze, your contention here, your assertion here, is that
Mhm.
um, a lot of times women do not honor their commitments in the same
Mhm.
way and in the
This
same
being a
rate
good example,
that
yeah.
men
So
do,
this
and
is
you
an
use this as
example.
an example. So, given that, I just want to put a pin in this here. So, given that's the case, given that is your assertion, I want to give Ruby a chance and some time to have some space to kind of counter that if she would. So, go ahead, Ruby. Why is
Question.
his assertion incorrect?
Well, it's not incorrect that a lot of people have marital problems because it's a huge commitment to vow to be with one person for the rest of your life.
No, no,
And
no.
culturally, we have been more accepting of divorce,
Okay, no, but
you know?
the assertion being made is that isn't about divorce, so to speak. Is that women aren't honoring their commitments in a way that
To
men
fucking their
are.
husband when they don't want to. Do you think marital rape should be legal? I'm just curious.
No, I think the woman should have a willingness and desire to do so of her own accord.
But
Shouldn't even be a
any
concept. The woman
long-term
should already
relationship, the
desire to
spark
do so.
fades.
It
Like any
doesn't matter if the
long-term
spark fades. Guess what? You reignite it. Or you care about the fact that this person can never have sex with anyone else again. Think about this for a second, right? If we get married and we do it correctly, you are the last person they can ever have sex with. To me, I'm like, okay, I should make this a great experience. I should at least try.
think
That's
women
honor to me. That woman should be able to have a great time with me. That's being honorable.
seen
Why are
so
so many young
many women
ladies not
put
reciprocating that?
We've seen so many women put so much into marriages and care so much about keeping their husbands pleased and trying to save their family. So it's just another thing where I feel like you have this kind of like this boogeyman of like these evil like your
It's not about them being evil.
woman and is not fucking her husband. And it's like, yeah, marital problems exist. Why? What? So I'm just not sure where this is like what is your point? Like, yes, marital problems exist, and it's unfortunate.
Mhm,
I think if someone gets married, they should try their best to honor that commitment. I think that
mhm,
they do have an obligation to try to keep their partner satisfied, not in
mhm.
a like fucked up non-consensual way, but of course that is a consideration, and
Exactly, of course.
that's an absolute tragedy to be stuck in a loveless marriage, and it's honestly terrifying to me. And I would hate to be in that position. I think it's horrible, but I just don't think I don't know. I've never been married. I don't know that much about what like the average marriage or the dynamics in that. So I don't have the same maybe
Well, well,
anecdotal
well.
experience that you're drawing from right now.
Mhm. Well, it's not about the marriage, right? Specifically, that's just an example. I could again use paying for the first date as another example of a lack of reciprocity. Here's another great example. Again, I was hearing this. Men
Oh, can I just say
when
one thing?
they
Can I
Mhm.
can I say one thing about the like the most women, at least that I know, they all go 50-50. Like, if not, I've been the breadwinner in like most of my relationships paying for shit.
Mhm.
I So it's like I can
Do
say
you
the
think
same
that's a
thing where
norm?
Yeah, but that's
Do you think
I would
that's a
say I
norm?
think there's a romantic idea. Like I think women do they find certain aspects of traditionalism romantic, and obviously they reject other aspects of traditionalism because people pick and choose the things that they like, or they don't even
that's not
necessarily pick and
honorable.
choose it. They just
But that
have
isn't
that.
honorable. Men don't pick and choose the types of traditionalism they like. If they're going to be a
But
traditional man, they adhere to that. The whole
they
nine. A lot of young
don't.
ladies, but they
They
do.
really don't.
So you'd
They
have to you okay, so go ahead. So I want to hear you explain how men don't adhere to their half of the traditional
Well, just
uh,
in the
uh
same way that you could be just broadly speaking about women not honoring, like men are just what we're talking about is human beings that are flawed and fucked up
mhm,
and like enter these arrangements and they fall short of it. A lot of people fall short of who they would like to be and the commitments that they make in life. I just don't think that women are less honorable than men
okay,
in that regard. If
so
anything, I would say the exact opposite because I've seen so many women, even in my own life. My mom's a fucking
mhm,
powerhouse who worked overtime when my dad fucked our shit up,
Okay,
like, and held our family together.
just for some stats because I'm googling it as we go. So, according again to Pew Research, in 60% of households, the husband is a primary breadwinner.
Mhm. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's the norm. I know I run in like progressive circles, so I wouldn't
Mhm.
project my experience as being the
Well,
norm that like
ironically,
everyone expects that. But I
if
would
I
say
can
I
cut
don't
in.
I think it's a debate that like maybe women are
Mhm.
50-50 on like who should pay on the first date, but the fact that you're extracting so much judgment about women's honor based on who pays on the first date to me is
That's an
pretty
example.
wild.
No, that's incorrect. That's an example. That's one example out of many examples that I keep bringing up. So unless you can argue one that that's not an example of women lacking honor, then it doesn't matter if it's just one. Again, I have three different ones I've already brought up. So what you have to
All right,
say is that
here, I'll concede
women.
this to you.
Okay.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay.
But
Hmm.
I'm conceding. Let me concede. I'll
Hmm.
concede. I actually do think that it is messed up to have an expectation that any gender should be the one to pay. I actually do. I think I would agree with that.
Hmm.
I personally find that to be maybe not the most honorable thing. I find it to be very low on the scale of like dishonorability, but I can see where you're coming from, so I'll concede that.
Before we go too much further, there's some super chats I'll get to, and I'm
Hmm.
curious your thoughts on these, gang. So $10 from Temperate Squill to ask, if men are so honorable, why do so many manipulate and pressure women into bed? And if women are supposed to only get in bed with their
Hmm.
husband, then who are single men supposed to get in bed with?
Allow me this question, right?
And I
So
have another one after this, but I want you to answer this. But go ahead.
this individual clearly didn't watch a single Saturday morning cartoon, because if he did, we would know the concept of good and evil, while simplistic, is just how a lot of this stuff operates. There are evil men and there are good men, and good men fight evil men all of the time. Well, there's lots of different propagandas, lots of different stories. Just even in your own personal life, you probably had a bully or some person that acted dishonorably that you didn't like, right? So are there some men who are going to be dishonorable and manipulate women and take advantage of them? Of course. I have spoken against these men for literally years. Since I was in high school, I was trying to tell women to not date. I still tell them to not date men like this. So I understand that there are dishonorable men. It is the job of honorable men, I like to, include myself into them, to get people to avoid those bad men and not reward them and not allow them to reproduce at all. That is how I feel about that. So yes, are there bad men? Yeah, we know that. That's why we fight against them. It's good versus evil. I don't know why people pretend to not understand that concept, but that's what's going on there. So
Okay.
hopefully that
Any
answers the
response to that,
question.
Ruby, before I get to the next question? Or
Yeah, I did any of that super objection.
okay. Uh, $5 from Zephyr Hash to ask, is a man stupid for choosing to marry a woman who doesn't sleep with him? Shouldn't he have seen the signs beforehand?
Now, I love that, right? A lot of people have popularized the concept of love bombing. You see a lot of this on TikTok, maybe a little bit on Reddit. The idea where someone will have a very strong upfront investment and they'll do a whole bunch. With men, sometimes it's a lot of like money, a lot of showing, a lot of sweet nothings, a lot of all of that. With women, a lot of the time, it's a bombardment of sex. A lot of people, this is a very consistent story that I've seen, that a lot of young men say in the beginning of their relationship, whole bunch of sex from the woman. Almost immediately when they get
Mhm.
married, drops off. And now to me that would indicate a swindle, a sexual swindle, I like to call it, quote unquote. It's not a good word, but it's a swindle, where it's a trick where I'm gonna bombard you with all of this sex. I'm gonna say, oh hey, this is how it's gonna be, only until they get what they want. It's a bargaining chip, unfortunately, which I think is a reflection of how a lot of women treat sex in relationships. This is something I kind of recognize, but there's another a little study that I saw someone posted. Unfortunately, I can't remember it specifically, where it goes, men look at sex as an end to itself, while women look at sex as a means to get something. And I think that this is hilariously reflected even in just like say with OnlyFans work. I mean, again, it's sex is not the end; it's a means to get money. Whereas men, they want the sex, they want to be with the woman sexually. So I think that the reason why, and I'm gonna wrap up with this. I think it's a sexual swindle. It's that a lot of women bombard the man with sex at first, and then when she gets what she wants, like the commitment, turns it off.
Can I explain why that happens? It's
Go
because in the
ahead. I'm
beginning of
I'm
a
curious.
relationship, Yeah, no, in the beginning of a relationship, often you're flooded with oxytocin, which is the bonding hormone. So when you are first getting connected to someone, you are overwhelmed with love and sexual desire for them. So that in the beginning of your relationship, you are having a lot of sex because you're horny, you like it, you're in love with the person, and it feels awesome. But as the relationship goes on, that initial huge explosion of oxytocin does decrease over time, and women are more fickle with sex. So we are more likely to get the ick or be turned off by certain things or certain behaviors in a way that men are more able to seemingly
How do you
compartmentalize.
feel about Velcro wallets?
What's that?
How do you feel about Velcro wallets? If a guy during a date pulls out a Velcro wallet to pay.
I could show. I have a Velcro
Hell
wallet,
yeah,
so
okay, based. $5 more.
I do. I love it. It says MySpace on it. I'm
Okay,
very proud of my
just
wallet.
making
It's very
sure.
cool.
Okay, $5 from the Kilo the Giant to ask, or to say, I should say, the men expected to pay dynamic is a leftover of long-standing financial disparity. This isn't a good argument for women being quote-unquote dishonorable.
Can you read it one more time?
Sure. The
Get a
men
better
expected to pay dynamic is a leftover of long-standing financial disparity. This isn't a good argument for women being quote-unquote dishonorable.
I think he had a fundamental misunderstanding. The point that I'm making is that there is no need to socially adhere to this, right? However, because of the concept of feminism, they create a need to create parity, to create equality. They say, as a feminist or with feminism, men and women are equal. If this is the case, if this is true, if that's the ideology or the belief, why don't women reciprocate and be equal and pay their fair share or pay their half? Men didn't
Sure.
create
Yeah, I
that.
agree.
Men didn't make that concept up. So
Mhm.
men
Yeah,
are
I think we
perfectly
should go
content being the main
50-50.
breadwinner. So. And so and if you honor that, then well, there you go. You see, if you honor that, then there's no issue there. But there are many a feminist I see who say, I personally prefer if the dude pays. Why?
I
There's no
don't see that
reason.
in the feminist movement at all. I feel like the feminist movement is the one that's driving to not have that. Um, I I think if you surveyed feminists, I would guess that maybe 23% or something would say that they prefer for a man to pay on a first date. I don't think that's the majority view because they are so into being financially independent and not reliant on a man. It doesn't really mesh with the ideology.
I
Unless you
think
view feminism as a cartoon where it's just like women are better.
I think the problem that I have is that on paper you would say that a feminist they would say, right, I'm fine with this, I'm fine with paying, I'm fine, but they, unfortunately, I don't have scientific evidence of this, but very many women say if they have to reach for their wallet, or they'll do the little test again. You got these like TikTok after action reports, women using it as their diary, that if they offer to pay and the man lets them, no second date. So they're not honoring that. And ironically enough, just last week she would have made a video talking about all the different feminist talking points about equal pay, all the feminist talking points by XYZ, and then when rubber hits the road, she doesn't adhere to being equal. So to me, it's like that's like another example of not being honorable. You say you're a feminist, you say this is what you believe, but you do not adhere to it when it's time for the principles to actually be applied.
Can I
Where
say
is
something
it?
really important? Really important. And I did make this
Mhm,
comment on Twitter, but I'm going to just reiterate it because it's very important.
mhm.
Feminism is a huge, broad umbrella term for many very fiercely competing factions that all believe different things. So, yeah, you're going to see, whoa, the feminists aren't being consistent. It's because it's all different human beings who believe different, vastly different things.
But there has to be some core to feminism. There has to be some through line.
There
Otherwise, the
is
word doesn't mean anything. Mhm.
the core is the belief in the legal and social equality of women. That's the
So when you
general.
when you when you say the word social, is it not a social interaction to have a first date with someone?
So, and that's why I'm not fighting you on it. I do think that
Okay, well, I'm
it's
glad. Thank
more
you.
consistent. I think it's consistent ideologically, which I care a lot about moral consistency. The other thing is I think you're also extrapolating a lot based on like younger women who young people are very stupid, and especially like young
True,
people who are
true. But go on.
prone to like putting themselves on the internet. or like trying to be influencers. Like, of course, those people aren't consistent. You know, they haven't really experienced life or reflected on things. So you can't, you know,
Well, that's a good
yeah,
point.
I
That's
just
a
think
good point. And if I may just insert myself a little bit here, if you've ever seen my show, you know I do this. Um, is this just not an artifact of women simply being younger, right?
Mhm,
Usually in relationships, and so they are less wise, less aware, less
Mm-mm.
intelligent, etc. Less all these things,
Mm-mm.
right? Is that just
No,
not
when
like an argument for men should be dating women their own age or maybe even a little older?
here's why I have a problem with that, right? I understood what was socially expected of me when I was 14. I knew I had to be a gentleman. I knew I had to pay on the first date. I knew I had to be protective. I knew that if snakes got into the house, I'd have to get them out. I knew if there were rats, I'd have to set the traps. I knew this stuff since the time I was 14. So my question is, where is the ladies, so to speak, code of conduct? What is the code of conduct to be
Well,
a
we have
lady?
one here. Ruby, what is the code of conduct for
right.
women?
Well, considering we're talking about half of the world population and billions of
In general, in the
people,
Western
I couldn't
Well,
Hemisphere.
even.
let's yeah,
We're
let's bring
okay.
it
All
back
Just
right,
real
down
so
to
quick,
America.
we're leaving
You're
out Iran,
mhm,
right? We're leaving out
okay.
all that, right?
mhm.
We're talking about specifically in the West, in America, Canada, etc. What, in your opinion, is the code of conduct that women have in relationships that showcases that they have honor? Go.
The code of conduct. Well, I wouldn't. There isn't the same a code of conduct that women have in a relationship.
So,
I
let
mean,
me
I
give you an
wouldn't.
example. Let me give you an
I just
example.
don't
Maybe
even
clear
think
this
that
out.
most people
Sure, sure, sure.
have that.
But
That's
I'll give
You're
you
that's
an
not
example,
true.
a
just real quick.
fluke,
I'll give you an
and I'm
example.
a fluke too. The fact that we even
I
reflect on
understand.
this, especially at a young age, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't think that's
So, in
representative at
general,
all.
society expects, I think this is a
Hmm.
simple one. Whether or not there are exceptions, that's fine. But as of now, society expects men to be the protectors, the breadwinners,
Mm.
to pay on the first date, to approach the woman is a big one, right? Like men are
Mhm.
always approaching women. These are some, and there are obviously exceptions. This obviously isn't. It's hashtag not all men, hashtag not all relationships, but this is obviously a commonality, right? So can you give me some similar expectations that women have in a relationship? I could give you a few, right? That in my mind, but you may have a better perspective on it, given your status than I do. So go ahead.
I mean, I would say in the same, it would be to be there as a support, to treat them well, to enrich their lives, you know, but it's not the same duty. Like there are differences between the sexes, and you see this replicated all throughout the mammal species, that there's differences in male and female mating behavior. I agree that men get the shitty end of the deal in the dating market. I agree. I fully agree with that. I really I would hate to be a man and have to, constantly. I think I've approached someone once. I like tried to talk to someone and, it didn't work out and it like ruined
If
me.
you're not interested in a man, and a man comes to you and gives you an elaborate or expensive gift, do you have a duty or an honor, if you will? Would it be dishonorable for you to accept that gift, or do you feel like you have a duty to turn that gift down if it's over a certain price range or a certain level of I don't even know the word, like effort?
I get what you're saying. I mean, I would say, wait, can you repeat the gist of it real
Sure, sure,
quick?
sure.
Sorry, my
If
brain.
say a guy you're not interested, you have no interest in, comes and buys you an
Oh, okay.
expensive ring or expensive necklace or something, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a duty to be like, sorry, refund it, right?
I would say you have a duty always to be honest and to communicate your expectations and needs in a relationship. And I think it's very unethical to lead someone on. And if someone is giving you elaborate gifts, like if someone did that to me, I would personally check in and be like, if it was, yeah, I don't think I would feel comfortable accepting something if there's any kind of, it would feel like there's a level of deceit to kind of lead them on. I would
Okay.
find that
So I
unethical.
guess to answer the question, so I'll give you my examples of what I think are societal expectations of women. So, societal, again, not all women, hashtag not all women, hashtag not all relationships. speaking very generally here, generally they are not expected to approach men, right? If they do approach men, I know a lot of men kind of get weirded out about that sometimes, right? Not all men, obviously, but it's a general societal expectation that they are the passive in the relationship. Also, that they are expected to raise a family and do the household chores. They're expected to sweep, keep the house clean. In a lot of cases, they're expected to decorate the house, in fact. These are some common societal Western expectations. Whether they're good or bad, I'm not making judgment on that. So I'm curious what you think are some others along those lines that maybe we haven't thought of, just for the purpose of discussion.
I mean, I can't really think of anything specifically about how a woman has a code of conduct like in a relationship. I don't
I think
really
that proves the
like,
point.
yeah, you could say everyone has a code of conduct to like be a good person and a commitment. And yeah, there's societal expectations on women, but it's just people are so different. I couldn't even
Sure. What
begin
are
to
those? That's
start
what I'm
to
asking, though. What
describe
are those societal expectations? That's exactly what I'm asking. What are the
of a
societal
woman.
expectations? Yes.
Obviously, to make yourself attractive, women have a very different standard in how we're supposed to present ourselves, to
That they
stay skinny, to
simultaneously say
stay
they don't
young,
do for
stay
men.
beautiful, the hair's coiffed before makeup's on, all that
But
shit. Like it's
uh,
it's a fucking
can we
fiasco.
can we pause? Can we pause on that by itself? Because I think this is an interesting two step I've seen a lot of women do. Is where on the one hand there's this societal expectation that they're supposed to be pretty. On the other hand, they don't do it for men. It's all for themselves. I wear
It's
makeup
not.
for me.
That's
I
a
don't wear
lie.
it for men. Okay, so I'm glad at least from the
That's a
same
lie.
page. There's a bunch of BS that
Yeah.
that they're lying about it. Okay, so
I'm gonna like
as
there's
long
a
as you don't adhere to that,
pretty
I'm glad. Okay.
yeah, no,
Mhm.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. I'm
It's
glad.
I mean,
I'm
it's
glad.
not entirely for men. Like there's a lot of like
Eh,
lesbians and like
well, that's
but
for
I
other
would say
people's
our what we
consumption.
consider to be attractive is based on the sexual preferences. It's like you rouge your lips so that you look like aroused, and you do the eyeshadow so that you look. It's all based on looking healthy, fertile, and like a high
Yeah,
quality
amen.
person to mate with. I don't think that just because that's the roots of where our beauty standards came from, that it means that like every time I paint my face, I'm like, oh man, I hope some guy wants to fuck me. Most of the time I want the opposite of that. I want to be left alone, but I also want to look
Mm,
presentable. And
so okay. So why is being presentable equal to looking fuckable, so to speak? Like, shouldn't being presentable be different than you being sexually arousing? Why
well,
would they be one
I'm
and the
just saying
same in that case?
that's where our standard comes from for certain things that we considered to look good. It comes from just what looks fertile. I'm just saying, like at a baseline level, that's just where it stems from. Unless you have a different theory.
No, I don't actually. That's exactly what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
what bothers me about that line of thought, and you're not defending it because you agree, and I'm glad that there's this great pretending with beauty standards exist independent of male desire. That it's just society came up with it. Society just made it all up. But women don't try to look pretty for men. No, 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 no. It's because society tells them. Honestly, it doesn't even make sense to me. I can't even understand why they even believe that. But they love to pretend that they are not trying to be sexually attracted. Or they come up with the concept of the male gaze. This is all women performing for the male gaze. It's like, well, yeah, because they want men. Are you kidding me? Shouldn't you try to be appealing to the sex that you want? You want men to approach you. You want men to talk to you. You want men to take care of you. Why would you
Can I just
not be
interject?
visually appealing?
Interject real quick. I just
What?
I the thing is, and the reason why I think that women tend to deny this is because by saying that our beauty standards are rooted in what like is sexually attractive to men, by saying that we're always so cognizant of not seeming like we're giving a false invitation. And I know for me, like I will put on makeup, but like when I went out to go run my errands today, 0% of me wanted to be approached by anyone at all. But I
Mhm.
also looked like shit without makeup, so I wanted to look cute. So I put my fucking eyeshadow on.
So let me ask you a question, right? So how does a man even know when you want to be approached and when you don't if you look the
Mm.
same in every single situation?
Mhm. Well,
How could
not
we,
looking
to
the
be
same
fair
in
to
every
us,
situation. But,
well, if you try to look presentable, right? Like
mhm.
how do we know as men when we can approach? It's interesting because you brought
Mm.
this up earlier that online dating isn't like quote unquote real life. There's this one post that I saw that just kind of just hits the nail on the head. It goes, you tell men you can't approach women when they're working, okay. You can't approach your classmates, okay. You can't approach your coworkers. You can't approach on. It's just this whole line of when
Mhm.
people say you can't approach women on the street. That's another part of that post. A lot of individuals keep telling you, man, you can't approach women here,
Mhm.
but they also tell you go find your different hobbies where you can approach women. But then you just told us that we can't approach women in these venues. I heard someone. It was a foreign man in a strange land. Is one video I want to talk about. He said, "Men, stop trying to have sex with your friends." And I say, I'm supposed to try to have sex with strangers. I'm supposed to just find
Always
rent,
what
but
pages
you
from my
told me,
friend pool, so yeah.
not to. So it's like there's all of this stuff that you telling young men, right, that you don't want to be approached, but you also tell them that you have to approach them. So which is it? Are we just supposed to play roulette? Is that what you
Yeah.
want young men to do? Just go roulette? Let me just play the field.
You know what it is? It's we wanna be approached by hot men.
Well, thank you.
You know,
I'm
so
glad.
it is
See,
that.
we're over here agreeing. I love it. I'm glad
I
we
told
agree
you, I
because
I thought we would have some common
But
ground, you
how does
know,
it?
not
I'm
in
just
everything,
curious.
but
Xerce, though, like,
hmm
how does that show that women have no? Back to the main topic at hand.
well,
How does that
okay,
women?
so
Just let me finish
I
my question first. Let me finish my
hmm
question first,
hmm
then you can respond.
I got an answer. I got an
I
answer.
understand you do, but listen.
it's hard because you lose it. You lose it, you know?
What
I'm not
what
losing
I'm
at all.
saying is that people, men and women, want to be approached by people that they find attractive, and they would rather
Mhm.
not be approached, or at least they're neutral on being approached by people that they don't find attractive. This is true for everyone, even fours on my best day like me. I like it and feel flattered when women approach me who I think are good looking. And if I am not interested in someone and they approach me, I'm not a dick about it, but I'm not like, oh yay, they approached me. I'm just right. Um, so I guess I just don't see how this is indicative of women lacking honor, that they have
I shall
preferences and looks. Go ahead.
I shall explain. I shall explain. I'm glad you brought this up. This is a great example. One of the main driving forces of the manosphere, of the red pill, of all the different dating coaches that you've seen is that men are told to behave in one manner to attract women, yet they see women reward the awful behaviors of another man, right? So this is a great example, and lacking just honoring themselves as women is you tell men that you want nice guys. I made a video about this years ago where literally verbatim women said they made videos where they say they like nice guys, right? Now we come a couple of years later and we're actually seeing a lot of ladies be a little bit more honest, saying that we don't like this behavior. We said we wanted this behavior, we get it, and then we get the ick. It's nasty, it's gross, we don't like it. There's another video I saw where this woman said she explained he did everything. He held the door open for me. The front door, the car door. He paid for the date. He brought flowers, and I just felt just disgust. I was like, ugh, he's corny. You tell men to behave in one way, they act in that way, and you are disgusted, and you reject them, and you don't like them. Men, on the other hand, can act in very many dishonorable ways, right? For example, the idea that of a pre-selection you may have heard before, right? Where a woman is more interested in a man that's already in a relationship than another single man. That if a man has multiple different women after him, then that must validate him. That must have some value to him, right? Why are women say why is this the case? Why would any woman now in 2023 finally just start telling the truth when 10 years ago they were saying no, we want sweet guys, we want nice guys, we want guys who write us poems, we want guys who do all of this. To me, that's a huge example of lacking in honor because you're not being honest. Here's an
But
interesting thing I was
women
taught.
have different
Hold on.
tastes.
Wrong.
We're all exactly. We
Hold
are
on.
half
That's
the
not fair.
population, billions of people.
That's not
I will
fair.
concede that it's very confusing to be
hmm
a young man, and you do get a lot of conflicting messages, but I don't know. It's
See, I'm glad because and it's really interesting because here's another thing I was told. I was told numerous times. People still say this, right? And to Wick's point earlier, right? Women having preferences, right? That's a really interesting thing because what a lot of young men was taught, me included, was that women don't care about looks all that much. Women care about personality. Women care about your
a lot
character.
do.
Women care about
A
the way
lot
you
do. I
treat
do.
them.
Absolutely.
Only if you're an
100%.
attractive male. And ironically enough, you don't
Mhm.
even have to be a good attractive male. You can be an
Yeah.
attractive male and mistreat them, and then they'll make concessions for you. So which means, as it turns out, it's not your character. It's just you being attractive. It's just you rustling their jimmies, the spark, the 𝕾𝖎𝖎𝖙, so to speak. So to me, I think this is a great example because it shows you set up a standard. You told young men this is how they're supposed to operate. They operated like that, and you didn't reward them. You didn't just not reward them. You then besmirch them. You just call them nice guys, TM. You say he's corny. You say he's too good. You say he's too nice. You besmirch the man that you created. You gave them these standards, and then you insult them for doing what you asked. It's extremely dishonorable to me. You want me to be honest with
Okay.
you?
I want to give Ruby a chance to respond to that.
About half the population, of course, there's going to be conflicting wants, desires, and human beings and mating is very complex and what people desire. But you really, like, yeah, of course, when you're talking about half the population, you're going to get conflicting messages. But I will concede that it's a very weird time to be a young man. I will concede that. And there's a lot of very new obstacles that we're facing as a society, and women and feminists really don't pay any lip service to that whatsoever and have really gone off, the deep end. But I, yeah, I just don't think it's valid. I believe that you can have that experience and perception, but I just, like I said before, I just don't think it's representative or fair to generalize half the population and their behavior. Because do you think women aren't confused by male behavior? Like, it goes both ways, you know?
I think women make concessions for male behavior all the time. In fact,
True.
it's funny you say that. There are two women I was just talking to the other day, where they say the dude that they met he did everything right, so to speak. He's perfect. Everything was great. And then all of a sudden, he texts them, "I don't think this is gonna work out," or he texts them, "Well, I just lost the spark." Now, honestly, to me, I'm like, but he just lied the whole time. He just did what he needed to do to have sex with you. To them, they're like, but but how could he do this? How could it? To me, there's no confusion. He lied. He did what you wanted him to do, so he could have sex with you. That's it. There's no
Talking
grand
about like
mystery.
you're describing the behavior of like a young demographic, and it's like, yeah,
Well,
people
yeah,
are
we're young
stupid and
people. Yeah.
inconsistent. And but what
But
I
here's
just
the
very heavily disagree is that you are then using that to characterize feminism and women as a whole. That's crazy. Come on,
well, I
man.
use feminist talking points to categorize feminism, and then I use the behaviors of women to categorize women, right? Now, unfortunately, there's a little bit of overlap, it's like a Venn diagram, but the falling into you would say, the trappings of the elf boy, or, the Casanova archetype of male, that's more like the women's vices. And unfortunately, a lot of them get caught on the surface level in the appearance and all the good feelings, which again, to me, is kind of a swindle to a lot of young men because again they set up the standard that Casanova wasn't the most
Women
attractive man. They set
swindle
up the
men
standard
more than
that the
vice
nice guy
versa.
was. Say again?
It's men are notorious for misleading and tricking
Yes,
women into
Chad.
like having
Yeah,
sex
Chad.
with them. Like, no,
Exactly. The
not just
Casan.
that. Like,
I'm
Hold on,
specifically
let her.
talking
Hold on,
about the
hold on, hold on,
Casanova.
hold on. You
Mhm,
gotta let her. You gotta let her
mhm,
finish this. Go. Keep going, Ruby.
mhm.
Keep going.
Go ahead.
well, I, I keep losing my thoughts. Sorry, I just wait. Can you repeat the gist of what you were just
So
saying?
what
I'll get
you
it
were
right
Well,
now.
saying, Ruby, maybe this will spark your
Yeah.
memory again, is that you were saying
mhm,
this is a common occurrence that men just lie all the time. They're
mhm.
manipulative all the time, et
Oh
cetera, et
yeah,
cetera.
yeah. I would say in my experience and experience of many women, I
Oh,
would
I'm
say
sure.
and this is the thing. Here, back up. I don't even want to fucking play this game, men versus women. It's fucking moronic. That's not really my interest, and I find it
Mhm.
juvenile and stupid. But if you want to play that game, it doesn't
No,
look
we
good
have
for
to.
you guys.
No, we
You
have to. And
swindle
I'm
women
telling you.
all the time, lie to
Mhm.
get sex, trick women to get sex. Yeah, but guess what? That's that's bad human behavior, and I don't generalize all men based on that, unless you really want to go head to head like we are right now, in which case I will bring it up because you went there.
Mhm. No, we have to, because again, this goes back to the super chat I was answering. As men, again, we understand the concept of good versus evil. We know they're crappy men. That's why I say the Casanova F-boy archetype. And when I say archetype, I mean a general trend of behaviors in these young men. You can, and again, this is no shock, no wonder to me that there are men who lie. There's no wonder to me that there are men who say what they need to say to have sex. I know. I was friends with some of these dudes, not for very long because I didn't like their character, but I understand their existence. What I am saying, right, is women are still picking those men. You told us that that's not the man that you like. How come he's the baby daddy?
It's kind of like
How
with
do you
men,
get the
how
egg from
they
good men?
it's kind of like with men, how they say they want a normal girl, but they always go for the crazy hot chick. What's up with
No, they
that?
don't.
Like we could do this
A
all
lot
day
of men
about
don't
like
get it. No, we can't. Because I'm gonna tell you why. The difference is, right? Men didn't create a standard of a bunch of nonsense. When men say they want, that's what they want. They want a nice, pleasant woman that's good to them. That's what they want. That's what
Wait,
they ask for.
hold on. That's not true at
Very simple.
all. I know
Oh, it's
plenty of
very
men.
true.
I know plenty of
Hmm.
men who will say,
Hmm.
"Man, I just want a woman who can settle down and raise my family and clean my house."
Exactly.
But when
But then
who
it
are they
is
going
true.
out with? Not those women. They're going out with women who go on the whatever podcast. They're throwing their money at the
exactly.
OnlyFans. They're going out and trying to find the loosest woman in the bar, right? Like this is I understand your point about women saying one thing but wanting another, but this isn't a simple women phenomenon because this happens with men too. Men all the
Mm-mm.
time. I've known plenty in my 40 years of life. I've known plenty of men who have done this who said, "I want a woman who is this," but then every single woman they date is just not that at all, right? And you're like I always look at them and I'm like, yeah, is that why you? Why can't you find a good woman? Because you're out in the club, right? Getting the drunk ones, right? Who are wearing the least amount of clothing, right? That's what you're doing. And you're saying you want someone who's traditional, home raiser, right? Someone who could raise your kids, and you're in the club looking for that. You ain't never gonna find it there. This is something that happens all the time. I don't think that's. I don't think you're right here. That's all.
Allow me to concede it happens all the I don't even think it does. Let me just say that those men may exist. The problem is men didn't set a standard and then besmirch women for fulfilling that standard, okay? That's a huge difference. Men didn't say we want women who are kind, pleasant, traditional, homemakers, loving and caring. And then when a woman presented that, we said, "Ugh, that's kind of nasty. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that you're
Totally that
only had sex
happens.
with one man. Ugh, I don't like." We men didn't do that. Even if a man says he lies, so to speak, or maybe he doesn't understand himself or his reactions. Let's say he does
We can
say,
look at the recent Twitch
I
drama, if
want."
I may bring this up real quick. The
We
recent Twitch
I
drama
don't know anything about
where
that.
I'm going to explain it for my
Hmm.
audience, right? And
Hmm.
for you as well. So you had a woman who went on stream with like you couldn't see it, but everything like she was obviously naked, okay,
Oh,
but you couldn't
morgue
see
pie?
it,
Yeah,
and
morgue
she was
pie.
just
Yeah.
trying to
Hmm.
like Morg Pie or
Okay.
whoever, right?
Hmm.
So again, men are always saying that, oh man, I really want a woman to be sexual for
Hmm.
me and do sexual things for me. But then when a woman
Hmm.
does that, they're like, this is terrible. We need to get her banned, right? And
Hmm.
this is something that
Hmm.
like you could just see the
Those are
double
different
standards,
men.
right?
There's a different. There's not the same men. If it is the same man, then he's being a hypocrite. Like, I'll
Here's
call him
the
out for being a
core. Here's
hypocrite.
the
But
nucleus of the
mm,
issue. It's a human
mm,
issue. So when you say not all men, I can say not all women.
you
Boom.
but the difference is I'm not saying it's all women, right? I'm saying that there are
You
more
just
often
keep
than
saying
not
women,
the
women, women,
general
this,
trend.
women, that,
Oh yeah,
women, this. Like,
no offense, but it should be pretty simple, or it should be pretty obvious that when I say this, I don't mean every single woman ever. That's I'm gonna be honest, that's a bit
so what?
nonsensical to have to qualify every single time. So and what I'm saying should be clear too. I very clearly don't think every man is the same. I keep saying good versus evil. I'm already qualifying that not every man is the same. So I understand this perfectly well. What's important to me is with the morgue pie thing. It seems pretty clear to me that this is actually very consistent on Twitch politics. I've seen since its inception this frustration with women being overly sexual on Twitch. It's a war. It's a war on Twitch. The men who support it and the men who hate it. I've seen this for the last 5-10 years, so to speak, on Twitch. To be honest with you, so I'm not surprised that she was able to get away with it. If she did, if she wasn't banned, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised if dudes threw a bunch of bits at her, and I'm also not surprised if men were angry that was even allowed to be on Twitch, because again, men battle each other all the time. That's nothing new.
There's so much. The reason that I keep saying that like women aren't a monolith is because you keep saying, I'm confused because women says this, then women do that. So when you
Mhm.
keep reiterating that, I have no choice but to respond and remind you that yes, different women want different things. So
Then the
what?
the problem
What
the
are we doing?
problem is when the same woman has said, I like nice guys, but every dude she's dated is a thug. That's the problem.
Yeah.
When it's the
Well,
same woman.
they're
It's not
confused,
women generally.
probably
When the
young
same
person
woman
making
does
bad
it.
choices.
Okay,
That's what
so
young people
here's an
do.
issue that I have. There's lots of people who like to do they're too young to know better, right? I don't accept that. The whole one, if that's the case, then it just means that there's a extremely poor parenting, because the entire point of being a parent is to educate your child so they don't make poor decisions. So there's either that,
Well,
or
that's a
two, they
topic in
know
and of
they're
itself
doing
because
something wrong.
that's it.
Yeah. So, but a lot of these people, yeah, even the men who pick awful relationship, they know they're doing something wrong. They know they're making the wrong choice. The difference is, men again do not get the quote unquote ick from women being good people. They don't get the ick from
Ew.
women being kind. They don't. Young women, well,
Also, women don't
some women,
necessarily
not all,
get that
some.
either.
Okay, there are some who don't, and they're probably married. The ones who are left on the market, they don't like men being kind to them.
Do
We
you
gotta discuss that.
what gives you the ick? I'm curious, Cersei, what gives you the ick when a woman does something, or what, say a woman approaches you, or you're talking with a woman, or you're going out with a woman, or
Mhm,
in some sort of relationship? What are some
mhm.
behaviors that a woman can do that would give you personally the ick, as you say?
I can say, if we start visually, I'm not fond of any demonic type of tattoo. That's a negative. I anything
Demonic
like
type of
skulls,
like what? Like
yeah.
no skulls.
Literally,
Okay.
sometimes literally like a demon. Like I mean, like a succubus, Lilith, the Baphomet.
Okay.
I miss me with that.
So
That's no.
so
Um,
so demonic tattoos,
Demonic
ick.
tattoos.
What
Yes,
else?
I'm
What
being,
else? What
yeah.
we got? No, that's
And
fine.
okay.
Preferences are preferences. It's all good. So go
That's
ahead.
me. I'm not fond of septum piercings. That's not really for me. I sometimes like I guess I can't call it an ick, but it's definitely I prefer. I don't like it. Um, as far as like opinions and characters go, if any woman says she's fine with abortion, that's a negative ghostwriter. Not even gonna have the conversation. If she gets pregnant, I don't even want to talk about an abortion. It's like you got to be against it, so I know my children are safe. I just do not engage on that one. Um, I don't usually when a woman kind of acts selfish. I do not like that. Gives me the ick. I do not like inconsiderate women. And that's just kind of off the top of my head. I'm sure I could be
Oh,
here all
I
day
was
if I
just
really spoke
curious, right?
about it.
So I think that it's valid that you have these opinions, right? That these are things you want in a relationship, things you don't want in a relationship, etc. This is things that you like physically and things you don't like physically, like visually, as you would say. I just don't.
Mhm.
My disconnect here, where I'm having a problem, is you seem to have issues when women have those preferences, right?
Wrong. See, I don't
They
like that. Go ahead.
Okay,
I'll
because
let
you
you.
would like again we talked about earlier where on the last show you were with me. This is why I brought up the Velcro wallet. It's a Velcro wallet thing. I think if that's a woman's preference, it's weird, it's stupid, but I would maybe argue that having a tattoo being a preference is stupid or not, but like it doesn't matter. It's not our preference. It's their preference. So I don't. What's the difference between a Velcro
I'll
tattoo and
tell you.
a Velcro wallet and a
I'll tell
tattoo?
I'll tell you. I'm glad you asked that question, because there's gigantic difference. The issues that I have are issues of character. The issues a lot of them they have is an issue of aesthetic. The Velcro wallet is a great
You
example
just
because it's all about
described when he
aesthetics,
asked you
right?
what you cared about, you
And
only
and
described physicality for
that
like the
isn't
first
actually
3 minutes.
that was I did start that. That's how I literally said I started that, right? And there's a reason why I
That's for your
started that.
brain.
And there's a
And our
reason why I
visual and
specifically said there's a reason why I said specifically demonic tattoos, right? If a woman has an affinity for what is in its nature an evil creature, what is that communicating? That she wants to put an evil creature on her body, a creature that wants to sow misery and destruction upon humanity. Even if you were to say demons aren't real, okay, fine, fair enough. Why would you want the representation of an evil creature on you forever? To me, that suggests that there's something wrong with your
It's
character. That
metal
you
as fuck.
resonate.
Like,
No, but to resonate. Hold on, but think about it. To resonate with a creature that wishes for your own destruction, to me, we could even extrapolate. Maybe there's some self-loathing there. We can extrapolate that her moral framework, her
You're
moral structure,
interest in the
is not
darkness of life. Let's
aligned.
talk, man.
That's not good. That's not good. That gives me the ick.
That's
Whereas,
valid.
if we're
Valid for
looking
you.
at the Velcro wallet, what are we really criticizing? The the quote unquote childishness of the wallet. Maybe the aesthetic of the wallet. The wallet doesn't say anything about his character other than maybe he just likes the way it looks. Now, if you were to say there's a demon on the Velcro wallet, now it's like, okay, go ahead, talk to me a little bit, talk to me, right? Why does he have a demon on the Velcro wallet? If there has to be something alluding to the character that's wrong, but
you can find my
unfortunately, when
wallet.
it
It's the one
comes
that says
to,
badass
Wait,
motherfucker on
let me
it,
scratch
right?
up
but
your list.
unfortunately,
Oh,
but
she has
and I'll
a.
wrap it up here. Unfortunately, when it comes to their icks, like the dude tripped on the sidewalk, that's not a character evaluation. Whereas with me, I say if you're fine with abortion, you're saying that you're fine with removing your own fetus from you. That's also my fetus. So to me, if we're just aligned that we're gonna raise our children, that we're gonna let them at least live.
Well, I think
So
no,
to
I
me, it's
don't
like
think
it's
anyone
more of
has
a
a
character
problem.
problem
Sure. I don't
than
think
anything
anyone
else.
has a problem with like if you have a belief system or a value system that fundamentally differs from something you want in your potential partner or in a
Well,
family.
they definitely
That's
have a problem though.
fine. No one's I don't think would have a problem. Well, maybe I'm wrong, but most people wouldn't have a problem with you saying, "Hey, these are my values and I want you to at least align with most of my values," right? I think that's fine. But again, I think that's the asymmetry at play that I'm seeing from you is where women says, well, some of my values are X, Y, and Z, right? Don't be
But
childish. I
they're
want you to be an adult. And I think some of these things are red flags. And again, whether they're right or wrong is a different story, right? But they could say, like, hey, this kind of behavior, these kind of aesthetic makes me think that maybe you're not grown up enough. And I want someone who's going to take me seriously and take life seriously. And if you have Spider-Man on your wallet, you obviously don't take life seriously. So.
Mhm. No, see, again, the reason why I reject this is because you're extrapolating something that may not be there from the Velcro wallet.
Or like
And it
demons
is also
on
frivolous.
demon
Now,
tattoos, right?
but here's the thing, a demon tattoo isn't frivolous. You literally have it on your body forever. You can change a Velcro wallet at any point in time. If you don't like the man's wallet, you can just buy him a new wallet. You can't just on a Sunday wash off
Sure.
a picture of Lilith on you. You just
Thank you for the
it's
gift
just not
sub.
the same thing, right?
Thank you for the gift sub, Polar Knights,
Um,
and $2 from Darius to say Zerze. When
mhm.
Wick lets me on, I will roast you. Okay, fair enough. But
I want him to try. I want him to try. He'll fail.
we'll
He'll
get to
fail,
we'll get to
you know,
Collins later.
spectacularly.
Go. I want to get through
But
this
he can
discussion
try, but
first.
he will fail. So I
Yeah,
look forward to you trying to come
we'll
on.
have all the Collins
But
after the comments. But I want to give I want to ask the same question to Ruby because I asked you what your icks were. I want to ask the same question to
mhm,
Ruby because I'm curious. Like, what are some of
mhm.
your icks? And then we'll maybe
My
think about it.
ex, I'm not attracted to conventionally handsome men, like overly muscular, and so far as values, anyone that is very ego driven, very materialistic, and doesn't think deeply about life and their values, to me, that's a big ick.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
So these seems like honorable icks, right? Would you not
Oh,
agree?
that's perfect. That's great. I like it. A lack of materialism. It's a great reason to reject somebody.
Okay, so again, I just we can all find bad examples of the other sex, right? We can all find and go through bad examples of men and women both who do bad things and behave dishonorably. You I'm
the
yet
thing,
to be
though.
convinced, and my audience is yet to be convinced, that women in general, and I don't need you to say every woman, we're not talking about every woman, we're just talking about a majority. So 60, 70, 80%, you have, like, this doesn't seem to be a trend that's the 60, 70, 80%, right? It just doesn't seem to be that much.
Except I'm gonna tell you kind of why it is actually, right? And I find it really interesting. I love having meta conversations. What's interesting, right, is that if I say that there's an issue with women, there's always resistance and someone has to defend them and they have to say, well, what about men? Or that's just a human problem. But if we were to talk about men, which
Men do
Wick,
the same thing. Same thing.
you saw the women, they had no issue just saying yip 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 all these bad things about men. Yip yip yip, yip all these bad, no
Yeah,
resist,
but
no defense for us.
everyone made
No
fun of
defense.
them for that, right?
That's
Like, they
right.
clowned on them for that. Not on the panel, but my chat did, my audience
Mhm.
did, the reviews did. Everyone clowned on them for that because it looked funny, right? It looks silly.
Well, I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, to be fair, the manosphere does that anyway. That's just kind of we've been doing that for years. But the point is, right? They were at least allowed to have the conversation. That's a huge difference. Whenever even when I've been in Destiny server. I'll give you a good example. One thing I said
What do
was
we call
one
what is this now? You're being allowed on my
I'm gonna.
platform, which isn't Destiny size, obviously, but
Sorry, but I was on DGG. I had said that they made a point about male entitlement, and I said, well, let's stop for a second and really analyze this for a moment. This might be a great conversation, Ruby. I say with men, there's usually a huge upfront investment with men, right? Sometimes, not always, but sometimes as a man, you're supposed to have your whole life already set out, career path set out, house set out, financially stable, handsome, muscular. You're supposed to have all of this stuff just up front. The woman, on the other hand, is kind of just supposed to just jump ship onto your life, and that's it. So it's like with men, even on the first date, it might be minute, it might be extravagant. There are some women that have high expectations of the first date or whatever. We have to upfront the bill and prove ourselves worthy to an individual, which honestly doesn't have to reciprocate proving herself worthy. If I even suggest that they should, again, I'm going to get a bunch of friction and resistance and people being upset with me. But it's just normal that as a man, I'm supposed to prove that I am worth something in order to be around this woman who maybe she might actually have poor character and
I
might suck
understand.
herself.
But I'm telling you that women have to do the same thing. If you
What do
want
they
to
have to
date
do?
me,
So
ladies,
I
you
want a
have to
woman. Tell
prove
me
that
what do they have?
you're worth dating. I mean, but
To
that's with
men.
everyone. Like, no man, well, I won't say none, but there's most men out there, right? Most men want a woman that tries, right? That
That's
tries.
just
That
okay. They want a woman that's okay. They want a woman
uh,
that's just nice. Men do not have a
yeah, but
long
most
rap
women
sheet of
aren't
what
like
they desire.
most women
I,
aren't
that's
nice.
what I gotta say. Most of my friends, we just date average guys. My ideal partner is someone who is like of similar socioeconomic status of me, similar values, and similarly fucked up. I don't want to date up. I want someone right exactly at my level.
But you don't want someone
I don't
below
want
either, though. Men, we don't care. It makes
to
no
go like
difference.
a notch or two
Below,
below, but like
same.
there's, a little,
You want the same or higher. That's what you're, and that's very
No, no, no.
consistent.
I'm telling
Same
you,
or
I
higher.
would prefer not to have higher.
Uh,
I prefer to be
But
within equal.
but you still want same. Men, we don't care. High,
Not
low,
good.
same. We don't care. We want the woman. The woman is the end. With men, on the other hand, like we're supposed to do something. We're supposed to give something, whether it's protection, whether it's like, provision, whether it's just you feeling good about yourself. We have to do something. Men want the woman, and again, what's interesting about the nature of the relationship is the nature of the relationship between men and women is men still doing
So,
something and giving something to have the woman. And
Cersei,
modernity, you can't even suggest that women reciprocate kindness. People were upset with me because I say they should
I know that
reciprocate
was
being
silly of them to
kind.
be upset, but I agree with you on there. But Cersei, right? I don't know how many higher class circles that you've ran in, but have you ever heard the term slumming it? You know what that
No.
means?
Well, I've heard of it, but I
Okay,
would
so what
need
it
to
is,
hear it.
right? So what it is, it's when um people of a higher station or a higher class, they go to the slums and they basically carouse and they have their fun. But when it comes to actual relationships, they date within their social status almost entirely. That's a very societally strictly enforced. Look at
So I
how
understand
much
the concept
trouble.
of never
Just, and I
hurting
know
her.
this is an extreme example, but look at how much trouble Princess Diana was because she wasn't in that social circle, in that stratum. Look at some of the streamers today. Like, there are streamers who, and I would consider this kind of wise, who won't date down because there's so many problems with slumming it, right? They'll go and they'll have their fun, right? They'll
Hmm.
fuck them, right? They'll go and sleep with them and have their
That's a great
fun.
example of having no honor, though. I'm gonna be
But
honest with you.
I
That's an
understand,
excellent
but
example
this is
of a lack of honor.
very common in
Hmm.
in higher stratums, in higher social classes, right? You don't date
Hmm.
down. You just don't. But this isn't a woman thing or a man thing. It's just a thing. Does that make sense? And so when you suggest that all men want are just a woman, it doesn't matter. That doesn't play out when it comes to how people have interacted in the last 100, 200 years, right?
No, I disagree. Well, one, the distinction you've made are people in a higher social status. I usually talk about the everyman. Why? Because they're not the exception. They're mostly the rule. The everyman doesn't care. The everyman would have a sugar mama. The everyman would have a girl that works at Denny's. The everyman would have a lawyer. Like the everyman wants the woman. And part of that socially is because as men we know we still have to be the provider and the protector anyway. So her occupation realistically kind of really doesn't matter, you know. Now, of course, there's some men that do care. Again, like not every person's the same, generalities and all of that. But if we're talking about the men in the higher echelon, yeah, sure. I guess they don't marry down, even though it's not. Some of them do, but eh,
Those are
okay. I'm no
exceptions,
offense,
and they're
but
usually
yeah,
I
but
feel
it's
like most people just date like within their
the
social group, their
stratum.
peers, their same class. eh,
mhm.
Like
But
that's
again,
just
women again, women they want more. They want higher up. They're not usually they're not dating men that make less money. They're not usually dating men that are shorter. They're not usually that's not
hypergamy.
usually what they want. And unfortunately, here's the thing: a lot of people,
At least in
this is
evolutionary,
something
there's
I've seen.
different sexual strategies that women have just as men have.
Mhm.
There's short-term mating strategies, there's long-term mating strategies, and that obviously is going to play out differently.
I actually disagree with that concept. I actually think that this is an issue with modernity, not an issue with evolution, right? Or rather, you would say that this is human evolution playing out in front of us, and we just understand the concept now, which sounds lofty, but I can explain. It's like if you say that there's different mating strategies, technically species of animals just consistently do not compete with the opposite sex. They don't do that. They compete with the same sex. Look at a ram. They bash other rams' heads. They don't fight the sheep. This just doesn't happen. Male lions, they don't fight lionesses. They fight other male lions, right? The idea that men and women as humans have competing strategies is not true. The strategy is we need to reproduce and invest in our children. In fact, and the evidence I have for this actually is found in a child's need for a father, right? How is it that consistently children do worse without their fathers? How is it that children overwhelmingly have a desire for male figures in their lives? When a child is missing a father, why do they look to find a male figure of which to follow? Why do they miss their dad? Why do they seek out their parents when they need them? This is something to me would suggest consistently that males had to be, if we're going to look at this evolutionarily, within the environment of the child to have that gene, to have that instinct to seek one out
But
constantly.
here's the
This
problem,
this just seems
Zerze.
pretty obvious to me, right?
Here's the problem,
Go ahead.
Zerze. The reason that's a
Mm.
thing is because, for a variety of reasons, it's usually the father that is missing in their lives, not the mother. Children usually are with the mother in society.
Overwhelmingly,
Yes.
Oh,
not
and
very
okay,
So
honorable.
why? So
that
we can
that
dig into
proves
why is
what I'm
that the
saying.
case, and there's
That
different arguments, right? That there you could be men leave more, or you could argue with that courts favor women more. There's
mhm,
different angles we could take that,
mhm,
but overwhelmingly,
mhm,
children are with the mother, right? In a
exactly.
split parent household.
Now we could now that's my point, right? Now we could talk about the 10 years doctrine, and we could talk about how that actually was reversed historically. Historically, in the cases of divorces, men were awarded custody of their child, which I think for obvious reasons they're the ones who have the resources. But let's just not. That's not even the point. The point that I'm making is that when the father is gone, the child performs worse in almost every regard. When the father's gone, the child wants to have a father.
Well, my
What I'm
argument is
saying is
that
that
no, hold on. Maybe you misunderstood. My argument is
Mhm,
that that's not indicative of it being a father. It's single parent households perform worse, and the majority of single parent households, the overwhelming majority of single parent households, the father is
mhm.
gone. But that isn't indicative, and it isn't like that isn't evidence that it's the father specifically they're missing. It's evidence that when you only have one parent in the home, whether it be woman or man, it
Well,
causes huge issues.
well, ironically, the same results aren't found when it's a single father versus when it's a single mother. Children that are raised by a single father oftentimes perform better than ones raised by single mothers.
Do you have?
But
I
that's also
haven't
not
seen
the
evidence of
point.
that, but fair enough.
I'd
Go on.
have to go. I'd
Sure,
have to
sure,
go
sure.
look it up.
Because single
But
fathers are
but that's
so
also not the
exceptional
point.
that they're
Mhm.
actually isn't taking
And
up that role, that it selects to have an exceptional person who's, But
that's a great
I
point.
think
That's a
what
great
we're
point.
getting at, because I think it's
Mhm,
great for kids to have fathers. I think it's great for kids to have two
mhm.
parents. I would never debate that. So I'm getting a
The
little
point that
lost
I'm
in the
making.
sauce.
So I'm trying to put it together. The point that I'm making is that when it comes to there aren't sexual competition between men and women, right?
But you
That's
misunderstand, because I'm
modernity
asking it in
creating
between that
this.
we have these compete well, actually, we do have some competing strategies, but I'm saying that
But we
a
don't.
human
We
like,
don't.
women have competing strategies amongst ourselves. We have different competing
Like
desires within ourselves. We have the short-term maybe desire and
intersectionally,
long-term.
yes. Yes, exactly. Women compete with other women. They don't compete with men.
No, I'm saying
Men
we
compete with other men. They don't compete with women. In fact, here's another interesting point of contention, right? The same type of men that women want in the short term are the same men they want in the long term. That's why they get disappointed when they leave. That's where all the lies and the frustration of the Chad comes from.
so
If the woman
improbable, because men are all
understood
about
that it was
categorizing women by
frivolous,
who's a whore, who is a slut, who is a good one, who's a wife.
yes,
You're
yeah,
all
mhm.
about that. Really?
No, I
And
mean
like I said, I don't
that's not a
wanna roll
that's not
around
a
in the mud
distinction.
and say, "Men, women,"
Mhm,
like that you brought it there, man, okay? I
mhm.
would love to
No,
find commonalities and work together, but
but here's the problem.
you're harping on this thing.
Let me explain why. Let me
How
explain
about I
why.
ask this? Maybe direct it a little bit.
Mhm,
First of all, $2 from
mhm,
Darius is a constitutional living, breathing document. Beside the point, we're not going to talk about that today. But I want to ask you, Zerze, specifically.
mhm,
So you've mentioned all the problems you have with modern women, right? Like all they
mhm,
lack honor, et cetera, et cetera. Can you give me a positive about modern women?
mhm.
What is a positive general trait that modern women have?
I think a positive trait that modern women have is a willingness to actually pursue education and work and actually participate in the economy. I'll give them that.
Okay, fair enough. Um, oh, no, that answers my question, I guess.
Mhm.
Can you
Yeah, see,
give
here's the
us?
thing.
Go ahead.
I'm a little bit different, right? I personally don't even care if men are primary breadwinners. I think if a woman owns a business, if a woman is just doing well economically, that's fantastic. I just understand the reality. Most young ladies, they want men that make more money than them. That's just how it is. To me personally, it's like if a woman makes money, money does the same thing no matter whose hand it's in. You spend it to get resources. I don't care, but
Different
young ladies
evolutionary
do.
drives, because as a woman, it is such a monumental commitment to give birth and have to rear a child that, of course, we're going to want to commit to someone who has resources to give our offspring the best chance at
Well,
survival.
how does a single mother even exist? This is another problem I have. Lots of people love to say that these are the mating choices that young ladies are making. If that's the case, we would have less single mothers, not more. If this was the case, hookup culture wouldn't even exist as a concept. No one would even defend the concept of a quote unquote hookup culture if women were so afraid that they would be impregnated by these less than desirable men.
Well,
And
obviously,
yet
I'm talking about an underlying evolutionary drive that does still color our interactions, but obviously, the advent of birth control completely revolutionized the way that women were able to have
how would that
promiscuous sex.
But how would that change millions of years of evolution? 70 years of having the birth control pill undoes millions of years of
No, it
evolution?
doesn't, and we're seeing issues with that, and a lot of issues with being on birth control. Yeah, it's not without its downsides, and there's a lot of issues to hookup culture. Yeah, I'm not really down with it, man.
Oh, I'm glad we agree. But the point that I'm ultimately making here, right, is that we love to set up this standard that women are, I don't want to say virtuous, but that like they're making the right choices, but it's not reflective. It's not reflective. If they were making the right choices, there wouldn't be any economy of dating coaches telling women to do all of this to find a man. They would already their instincts would already get them there.
Look, we
It
can use
it
the
wouldn't
same
even be
argument though by
Derek
saying that
Jackson
if men were
couldn't
making
even
the right
exist.
choices, they wouldn't be lonely as they are, right? Like
No,
they should
well,
just do
incorrect
better.
because men have to become what women want, and if women don't like men, if they don't feel any compulsion to even want to
Well, it
be
sounds like
around
a
men,
skill issue,
then valid
right? Like, and
answer.
thank you for the 5
So
gift subs,
I love
average
it.
debate enjoyer. Appreciate it.
So here's another thing I find really interesting. I'm glad you brought this up. Whenever anyone has any contention with trying to have relationships with women, it becomes a skill issue. It's not my Here's a question. Can women just generally be wrong?
All the time. Have you watched my show? All the time.
Okay.
Women are
So
wrong a
why
lot.
so why can't they be wrong with the men they choose to date? Why is that gospel? So then why is it wrong if I point it out?
I would agree with you that the
Thank
temperature
you.
surrounding these conversations is absurd, and I think you should be able to say stuff like that. It's just the
Mhm.
temperature is so high, and it's such a
Hold on, she cut out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think she did cut out.
Okay, so in the meantime,
I
okay,
think
you
yeah,
hold on. You cut out. You cut out. No one heard what you just said. The
yeah.
internet's having an issue. Gang, if you're liking this content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. If you're enjoying this on Twitch or on Kick, hit that follow button. Thank you for all the support today. Really appreciate the gift subs from Average Debate Enjoyer, Polar Knight, and Mooncake. And am I your Mooncake, are you my favorite chatter? Polar Knight, who has gifted me 7 subs today, is my favorite chatter. You can be my favorite chatter if you can surpass him in gift subs. That's how you become my favorite chatter.
on,
So,
guys.
okay, are you back? Are you back?
I think so.
About your Velcro wallets.
Oh,
Am I back? Am I here?
yes, I think you're
Yeah,
here
Okay,
you're
now.
here. Yeah.
great. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
great. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so can you
Um,
repeat what you just said?
I can,
Mm-hmm.
that was several minutes ago, man. Wait, can you just refresh?
Sure.
Sorry, I keep losing it.
No,
I
it's
have no
all
short-term memory
it's
whatsoever. It's
fine. It's
all wet
fine.
brain dragging me.
Right? So we were talking about men's choices and women's choices. And the argument is if women were making better choices, right, and who their dating partners are, there wouldn't be the single parent problem that we have. And the counter argument to that, however, would be if men were making better choices on how they presented themselves, more women would be willing to date them. And so,
And
again, we have this
what I'm saying
dichotomy.
is, yes, what I'm saying is, why is it that women's choices are gospel in this regard? That it's always a skill issue with men. That men are always doing something wrong. There's no balance at all here. If I suggest that there are men who are trying to do what's right and trying to be good, and then women get the quote unquote ick, you still blame the men. Why?
I mean, I can see your frustration, like with, the just the general temperature of even being able to have these conversations. It is ridiculous, and I'm sure you've been attacked unfairly for saying things that are relatively benign. It's just that these issues are so fraught and loaded, and sexual dynamics, it's just like there's so much baggage that people bring just from their experiences, and then they just project it onto each other, and it's not productive, not into that. Yeah.
Mhm. Now, the reason why I think that it is productive is because we have to come to the table at one point, and
No, I
this
think
is
that's
my attempt to
productive and
kind of come
great.
to
I'm agreeing with you.
Mhm. Oh,
I'm
you are, and I'm
agreeing
glad. Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
Yes. I'm
I
agreeing with
think
you. I think, yeah.
hmm yeah, I think because to me, in my mind, just to give you just hopefully we just continue this even an argument, but this is how I think. Um, to me, I kind of understand, right, that there are forces, the combative forces, right? Like when I say good versus evil, like I'm not joking. Even if it's simplistic, at the very least, I want everyone to understand that there's a clash going on here, right? That there's something I think is a good path versus something I think is the wrong path. So I understand that not every person feels the same way. Not every person is the same. That's a little obvious to me. But I guess where I kind of fail is I don't make the nuance clear enough for some people. Because a lot of people like to say, well, you're saying all women. And it's like, in my mind, that's nonsense. I obviously don't believe that it's all women, but maybe I have to qualify it more so the message is better. But, you know,
I just wanted to comment before I fucking forget it. It's just the way that you talk about women, and of course, we should be able to have conversations where it's not all. I know that's so annoying. Trust me. I get in arguments online all the time. It's so annoying to just have people interject shit that doesn't even advance the conversation anywhere. It just completely derails it into nonsense, and it's a waste of fucking time. I agree with that, but you keep saying things about women as a whole, like, and describing these behaviors, conflicting behaviors that can only exist because there's multiple women, but yet you keep acting like there's this
well,
it's
well, well, well,
representative. And so of course
well
it's
mhm.
impossible to continue the conversation without being clear when you keep acting like women are a monolith in the
well,
things that you're
well,
saying.
well, I think I think what's we probably could do is create like you would say a different term like that's why I like to say the modern woman, right, versus a traditional woman versus like a feminist. Like I am trying to have some type of qualifiers here so it isn't obviously all women ever, but even then, like usually the behaviors that I'm speaking of, to me, I still think need to be addressed by the behaviors. Like even if we say, well, men do it too, I say, okay, well, maybe they do, but we're not talking about men right now, we're talking about women, and the motivations behind why the women are doing it is going to be different than why the men are doing it. So let's talk about the young ladies. This, to
Can I
me,
just
just
interject? If you have all these, you're obviously interested in this topic. Why couldn't you just talk about your issues and feelings about ethics and morality without having it be so gendered?
well, I do. I just it's just this topic in particular is about young ladies, but I mean, I do.
But you feel it seems like you feel so strongly, you make a lot of content like or surrounding your feelings about, women in
Hmm.
particular. So of course, people are gonna it's like if I was making videos like, I hate black people every other day and saying this and be like, all black people do this and all black people do
I
that,
don't hate, and I
and
don't
then
hate.
people are like, "Hey, all black people are the same." And I'm like, what? Of course they're not. I never said that. And then we go back and forth like we are right now.
I
Do
think
you get it?
the issue is that like you presuppose that I hate women. I hate them or I have a disdain.
I
I
wouldn't say
don't.
you hate them, but you
I
obviously
dislike the
have a lot of
choices they
resentment
make.
for them.
I dislike the choices that they make. Why is it wrong for me to dislike the negative consequences that they find themselves in and that they put their children
I just
in?
like the choices that men make, but I don't sit around making videos
I
like,
do,
why men fucking
and you
suck.
could,
Like,
you
yeah, I
could.
could.
There are
Probably
many
make
who
a lot
do.
of money. But guess what? I'm not a fucking idiot, so I don't have a desire to do that.
Okay,
So
okay.
so
Maybe
the,
let's be a little more productive here. Let me ask a question to first to you, Ruby, and then I'll ask a similar
Also, I didn't mean
question.
to imply you're an idiot. I'm not.
No,
That
it's
wasn't my
okay.
goal.
Imply he's an idiot if you'd like. But Ruby, what do you think are like a couple things that men could change about how they act that would make them more successful with women? Just give me like one or two top top changes that generally men do, things that men do that they shouldn't do, or men that don't do but they really should start doing. Can you give us a couple?
I'd say a lot of negative interactions I have with men are colored by a lot of preconceived notions that they have about women that just kind of fucking seep into the interaction. You can tell when a
Such
man
as
has hatred towards women, and you feel it into the
give
interaction.
us an
It's very
example. Like what are some things, some dog whistles, if you will, some red
a
flags?
dog with like a red flag in a man. I don't know, being a bad tipper. Like,
Being a bad tipper is indicative that they
oh,
hate
that's
women.
huge. That's huge to me. If a
Okay.
guy's a bad tipper, to me, that says a lot about his ethics in that he views there's an unspoken arrangement when you go to a restaurant that you are going to tip and pay the server for their time. So you're being deceitful by going in under the presumption that you're going to tip and then to not tip. I find that to be a putrid flag that you are unethical and that when you have a chance to behave immorally and get away with it, that you will. That's huge. That's horrible. Yeah.
Fair enough. Zerse, for you, what are a couple changes that women could make in their behavior to make them more honorable?
um matching the belief structures that they say they have. If you're a feminist, then adhere to the concept itself. Don't pick and choose the different types of preferential behaviors you want. If you think that there should be parity in higher fields, there should be parity in lower fields too. If you think that
Okay.
men should be protective forces in society, so should women.
Okay, so
You
Ruby's
gotta
answer
adhere
was
to it.
men pay more money, and then Zerze's answer was women be less hypocritical. Got you.
wasn't necessarily. I think maybe I wasn't. Can you repeat the question one more time? Because that was definitely not my message.
I know I'm
Oh, okay.
reframing it in a funny way.
And I was
Okay.
like, wait, maybe I
Um,
totally because
but
my brain's all over the
to
place. I
Ruby
don't know if I'm making
to the
sense right
point
now.
though, that is what people hear, right? When you say things like, "Oh, just tip more. You should tip more. You should be a
Well,
better
no, being
tipper."
fat
Because if
cheaper
you, it
is not
gives off
about.
broke vibes if you don't. That's what they hear, regardless of what you
No,
say.
that's not my intent at all, though.
Sure, I'm just telling you
I
what
love
people are
broke
hearing.
guys. I would only eat. I'm broke. I would only date someone. I love a broke dude. I always do that.
Well, I don't. Brokies in my chat? No, we preference
Oh
the
yeah, get it
payers.
here.
Give subs, give bits.
You've got your
Okay.
Velcro wallet.
Yeah, get out your Velcro wallets, open them up, and give some subs.
Isn't it nice?
I guess
It's
ASMR.
if I
Mhm.
may, I guess what I'm trying to get at with these questions is where the breakdown is and what is going wrong with relations between men and women. Because can we both acknowledge here? Can we all acknowledge here
Mhm.
that there is a problem? That there is
Oh,
a
so
problem
yeah,
between the
yeah.
interaction
I
in
can tell you. Mhm.
modern dating, modern relationships, modern
Mhm,
gendered back and forth that we have. There's some sort
mhm,
of issue here. Can we acknowledge
mhm.
that?
Yep,
Okay.
Mhm.
absolutely.
I'm trying to find out with these conversations where that issue is, and
Mhm.
because honestly, there's probably more than one issue, but where the issues are and how to maybe change things so that we can fix them. So we talked a lot about the issues that go on when it comes to women and how women act, but I want to also talk about like what are some ways we can societally fix that, right? Like what are
Mhm,
some changes in behavior that can be made? So I guess for women to change though, and this is where I'm going to get a little heat for this. This is where I'm more on Zerze's side here, is that there doesn't seem to be any incentive or pressure for women to change any of their bad behaviors. They are rewarded regardless. So no matter how a woman acts, if um, they are simply rewarded societally for it, right? They're yas queened, etc. Is that
yeah, I think that's so toxic. Yeah.
yeah? $5 from Zephyr Hash. I was going to send more, but my Velcro wallet made me realize I'm broke and shouldn't buy dumb things like Velcro wallets. Fair enough. Um, but yeah, that is a problem. So how do we fix that? Like because men don't have that. Men have the opposite problem. The men's
Mhm,
problem is anytime they have a complaint or anytime they broach a problem that they have, they're told to suck it up and get better.
mhm,
And so it's the opposite problem. None of their issues are acknowledged, whereas with
mhm,
women, their issues are papered over. And I think that there's a lot of bad things that have come from these two types of behaviors. I understand why these behaviors have happened, right? Because again, women traditionally have been oppressed, have been victimized, have been less than. Um, and so we want to stand them. We want to like support them. But I think we've gone to a place where we're supporting their bad behaviors too, and I don't think we should. Anyway, thoughts on
Oh,
this,
yeah, it's
gang?
obviously I feel privileged as a woman to live in the United States of America. I do think I'm more privileged in a lot of ways than a man. Like we have affirmative action. I'm going to be fast tracked through any fucking job. You know, we've been huge beneficiaries of a lot of these movements to the point where now we are at, in my perception, I would agree that we're at a tipping point where for the first time it's like this kind of toxic brand of feminism have just fucking taken over. That is, it's like the yes queen, men suck, men are trash. Like that's all so normalized, and I think that's a huge fucking issue. And I think that we need to stop acting like it's fucking okay. And I myself will have do personally call out this behavior when I see it, and I'd like to encourage other women to do that too, to raise the fucking standard.
Any thoughts, Cersei, on this?
That's excellent. That's how it should be. It should be we should be able to kind of call out and criticize bad behavior. We should be allowed to say, I don't think that this is a good choice. I don't think you're
Mhm,
this is the correct path. I think one of the most interesting things to me is how everyone assumes that the disdain for these choices comes from me being bitter or upset or a misogynist, but it can't ever come from the fact that I love women as people and I want them to do better. If I think these choices are bad and I hate women, why would I ever try to stop them? This is a question most people never consider because they don't even think about it. If I
If
think
these
that this
women
will
were
hurt
watching
you,
your
why would
Oh,
I
you're
tell you to
breaking up, Ruby.
stop?
It's unfortunate. She's cutting out. She's having some internet
Uh,
issues. That sucks.
I think she'll snap back.
Okay.
I think.
I think at this point we're just gonna get to closing statements, and then if you both are up for it, and please don't feel obligated, but I know some of my audience have wanted to call in and talk to you both, if that's okay.
sure.
So we're gonna get into closing statements, and please tell people where they can find you. Shout yourselves out. Post links in my chat. All that's allowed and encouraged. I want you to succeed from this too and get some growth. But yeah, just on the topic, and again, I know we've kind of gone afield here, but the topic originally was, do women lack honor? And we're going to start with Ruby. Give your closing thoughts on this, and then close yourself out, and then we'll get to Zerze's. And then, gang, if you want in on this discussion, if you want to call in, here's how you do it. If you're on Twitch, you hit !Discord, you click that link, and you accept the rules, and you jump backstage. I'm going to post the same link to my YouTube and Kick chat as well, but that's how you do it. Anyway, Ruby, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a really pleasant conversation. I enjoyed talking with you. It's always interesting to talk to people who are coming from a different perspective. I don't think you're evil. I don't think you're a misogynist. I believe I'll take you at face value what you're saying. Maybe I'm naive for that, but I think people need to be a lot more charitable online. Everyone acts like we have like the most evil intentions ever. But anyway, keep it on track about if women are less honorable than men. Obviously, I still highly disagree. I think that we find these rates of bad behavior equally, if not more so among men. But and I think the data bears that out too if you look at it. So my thoughts haven't totally changed, but it's something I'm always open to new information, and I don't really have any specific agenda. So who knows what I'll believe in 2 years or whatever.
Where can people find you?
Oh, I'm Ruby Spacek on YouTube and Ruby Spacek on Twitter or Methadone Barbie.
Okay, check her out. Okay, thank you for being here. Uh, Cersei, go ahead.
Essentially, I remain the same, a little bit. No offense, but I think that when it comes to caring and reciprocating good, honorable treatment to men, a lot of women feel they have no obligation, no desire, and no care. I do believe that there can be dishonorable men. I believe that evil is a force in this world, and I'll never take that away. And it's the responsibility of good people to ideologically and maybe sometimes physically fight those people. I understand that perfectly well. One of the biggest issues I do have that remains the same is that to suggest that women can be a part of this battle of good versus evil means that there's some skill issue with me. It means that I'm a misogynist. It means that I'm wrong. It means that I'm bad. I'm bitter. It means that there's all these terrible things about me when ultimately my entire motivation is for everyone to do better in life. I have focused on this topic, sure, but that's because there's so much resistance to this topic that I have to keep focusing on it because no one is going to let it slide. No one's going to actually just say, yeah, let's work on being better together. And so I'll end there.
Okay, average debate enjoyer says, I don't want to call in for it, but can you tell them it was appreciated that they were both civil and chill? Yes, thank you. It was appreciated you were
Oh,
both
yeah.
civil and chill. And where can people find you, Cersei?
Yeah, so I'm 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 or 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 on YouTube. Been there for a while, just chilling. Come join
Okay,
me.
and with that, we're going to go to callers. We have our first caller of the day. You're live. Oh, hello? You're alive. You are on air. Please don't say anything that would make me regret bringing you on.
Hey, what's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, what's
Okay.
up?
Hey, so just out of curiosity, nothing that either one of you two had to say had anything to do with the panel. What did anything you had to say, especially you, Xerxes, have to do with honor?
Everything.
No, the fuck it didn't, you lying ass. Because we were talking about whether or not women had as much honor as men. You talked about, oh, what about their dating preferences? That has nothing to do with male or female honor.
What does then? You tell me. I should have had you on the
That was
panel.
your
You tell
panel
me.
topic, motherfucker.
Okay.
So you just showed up and didn't know what the fuck you were doing? I mean, come on now. Why are you this incompetent? Like, why? You wasted my fucking. You wasted an hour and a half of my goddamn time. I mean, you wasted Wick's time. And you wasted the other panelists' time. I'm gonna get you later too. You up there smiling. But you first because you lame as fuck. You corny as fuck. Second of all, and that's why bitches don't want to fuck you. So I mean, you look like you used to watch Dragon Ball Z as a kid. And I don't know. I mean, you look. Shut up, nigga. But I mean,
whoa, hold on, Darius. Come on, if you're gonna say that, have your cam on, because I can't threaten my channel like that.
Oh shit, my fault. Here I come. But either way it goes, it is what it is, man. I mean, like,
do you have an argument?
Yes.
Do you have it? This just sounds like you crying. Like, do you have an argument? Do you have any problem with what was said today?
Motherfucker, did you? I mean, nothing you
do you have an argument?
Yes.
Give me an argument.
Yes. So women lack honor because there's not the societal pressures on women to be the leaders that men are. That's my first argument.
So women don't have honor. So that means you agree.
You just
if there's no societal pressure for them to be the leaders of men, so they don't have honor, then you agree with me. So why are you crying?
Yes, I do agree with you, motherfucker. But
thank you. Then that's it. And why are you crying?
Any kind of rhetorical, because you are boring. You are lame. You are a square. You look like you musty, and bitches don't want to fuck you. That's what I'm mad about.
Okay, enough. Do you have anything else? Anything else, Darius?
Yeah, you up there.
Let him stay.
Ruby, I have a question for you. No, I'm not done roasting you. But before I get kicked off, Ruby, I have a question for you.
No, I don't want you to get kicked off. I want you to stay. No, keep him. Because I think it's interesting.
Give him a sec. Let him talk to Ruby. Ruby's here.
Hold on.
We're equal opportunity roasters here.
He wants to talk about people being musty. He wants to cook, but where are you?
Shut up.
You're a slime. You're a pink little slime. Who are you, fam? Who are you? Come on.
Turn on the cam if you're gonna go there.
Okay.
Exactly. Don't you? What a coward! So you're a coward. You're a coward. You don't have an argument, and the argument that you have is just agrees with me.
I'm not even done yet. Okay, but let me cook though. Okay, so Ruby, I have a question for you. Why do you think that women have honor?
This is a question for me.
Yeah.
Why do I think women have honor? Because women are human beings, and a lot of women.
That's not why they have honor.
But that's an absurd proposition and question to ask in the group. Why does half the population care about having a moral duty to their fellow man? Of course they fucking do. What are you talking about?
Not on this. Okay, I mean, even if I did concede this, right? Even if they had honor, which I don't believe they do, it's not on the same level as men by any empirical metric.
I know exactly. Men are way worse. You're so right.
Men are much better. Why did you?
Yeah, you're really better at raping and murdering, for sure. I agree.
All these damn abortions? Like, I know the fuck you ain't talking, but anyway.
Oh, if men could get abortions, y'all know you'd be getting them way more than women.
I wish I had the data on this, but look, I mean, because first of all, we can look at this. Single fathers outperform single mothers, you stupid bitch. That's number one. Number two, I mean, if we want to go here, we want to go this way by rape and murder, alimony and motherfucking child support, because we can read that as an allegory for robbery.
Child support, rape and murder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, equal issues. Definitely have equal impact
Darius,
on people.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh yeah, no problem with
it. All right.
Okay.
How does someone come on here to be mad that they agree with me? Well,
I know. That was confusing, but I kind of liked it.
Okay. Does anyone have any actually relevant things to bring up? Gang, a lot of you are talking mad shit in chat. Biddy, I see you.
But they are.
Portland, I see you. Right? Mantis, I see you. Come in. Jump backstage. Let me pull you in and address them directly. This is the beauty of this show, is that if you have a problem with everything that these people are saying, you can come on and talk to them about it. I will allow you to do so.
Talk to you guys. Would love to.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious, like why aren't more
Yeah.
people coming in here to disagree with me?
Well, it takes a little bit, right? These are call-ins, right? And it takes a little bit for people, for the seal to be broken and people to start calling in. But here we go.
Mhm.
Okay, what you got?
So just kind of like last, but I will say, like, what he was trying to get at with you, Zerze, was that he felt that you didn't express enough why women don't have honor. Even though he agreed that women don't have honor, he didn't express that enough. Also, I wanted to say, like, Zerze, I feel like you come off really bad and people get really aggressive with you and they get very emotive with you. One, because, well, one, you sit there and you're very calm about how you're talking and it's kind of very manipulative, but you get lost
I was
in
being
sometimes what you are talking about. Hold on. That's not what I just said. Please stop. So what happens, Zerze, is how you are perceived in that way. A lot of times, people get really aggressive with you, not just because the calm, but there are points that you were pointing out where you were saying, "Wait, maybe I need to be more of this." There are times that you probably should be more of that or should be more of this or that, but you are explaining how you feel. But also at the same time, I feel like what you are doing, like what keeps happening is we're talking about a human issue, a people issue. And I get that we're talking about things that women do specifically that give you the ick or make you feel weird or whatever.
Are those
But
demons
it's
on your
also
fingers, by
like,
the way? I'm just curious. Carry on. I wanted to see if that
yes.
was where your power was coming from, the demon tattoos. But
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, the demon tattoos, Sorry. I actually don't have those, but I think that it's very important to express like things that you've been through, but you also what is so hard to see and hear you say all the time, Cersei, is things that you have been through. And I've seen you like step back on
Ironically,
like,
that's not
okay,
true. That's
I'm seeing
but
the
I have to
evidence,
stop you. I have to
I'm seeing the evidence, and I'm going to okay, I get that and whatever. But a lot of times you are just like, this is what women do. I'm stating this as a fact, and this is what they fucking do. Da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, sure. For you, there's a lot of people that are so different than the people that you have experienced in life. So it's people don't perceive you well whenever you say shit like that because you state as a fact instead
That
of
is a
being
fact.
like, you're like, women do this. Okay. And then it's like, okay, sure. And then you could literally just sit there and be like, well,
Yeah,
men do this.
what do you
And
have to
then,
say for yourself,
no.
Cersei? What do you have to say for yourself?
Well, one, I very seldom ever discuss anything I personally went through. Again, the whole Velcro wallet meme never happened to me. I don't have a Velcro wallet.
That wasn't
I,
just
I
the only
discuss
thing.
other people. I discuss other people's experiences, and I may resonate with some of it sometimes, but I very rarely ever say, "Here is something that I've done. Here's just the whole story." And the reason why is mostly because of this, because then you'll just be like, "Well, that's just a skill issue. That's just your fault. That's just your problem." And I'm be honest with you, I'm not really interested in hearing that. I want you to actually contest with the awful behavior and the awful way that very many young men have been treated, the things that they've dealt with. Like we can have these conversations.
I already
The
did that
issue
the first
is
time, and
that
you sat there telling me, what's the argument? Whenever I sat there, I said, women
because
are
there was no
mean. I was
because there was no
agreeing
argument.
with y'all. And
Well,
you literally were like, where's the argument? And I agreed with you, dude. Like, women
well,
can
then
be
there's no
really
argument
fucking
then.
mean.
And
But
why
you
can't
sat
we
there
have a
saying, where's the
conversation
argument?
about it
I
then?
already
So
told you how I felt.
so that's perfect. But this is the issue that I'm kind of having here, right? What a lot of people keep going down to is, well, men do bad things too. It's a human issue. It's like it doesn't matter if men do bad things too. That's not what we're talking about at this very moment. I understand that men do bad things. I've talked about men doing bad things. Why is it that when women talk about men doing bad things, no one wants to come in and say it's just a human problem? When I say women do bad things, now it's just a human problem. Now we have to come back. To me, I find it annoying. As far as there
Not
being no
women, it's
argument,
literally a hashtag with millions of
go on.
views on it. Like, are you serious?
Not
The whole
well,
Okay.
not
not
all
all
men.
me, that
Well,
came from
well,
you
hold on, hold
guys.
on, hold on. Well,
Right.
yeah, the whole "not all men" thing is more used by feminists to mock the idea of people saying that not all men
No,
do
we
bad
say yes
things.
all men, or not we.
Or
I
is it?
I don't
Yeah.
like.
Or okay, maybe I
Uh,
got it flip flop. Maybe
I did want to say too.
I've seen them get both ways actually. Yes, all men and not all men is more mocking the concept of
yeah,
not
yeah.
all men.
I
But
guess,
So
yeah, I'd say that.
if we're talking about like, do women lack honor? A lot of the things that were being said were, well,
Mhm.
it was the counter thing of, well, men do this as well, women do this, da da da. So if you're talking directly about women, I do think women have honor in different
Some of
ways.
them,
Every woman is so different. It could
What are
it
some
could
of the? Let me
literally,
but
interject here,
every man
Biddy. Hold
isn't
on,
so
stop,
different though.
Biddy. How
Yeah.
do you have honor?
I feel like I have honor in the way that I treat people and my ability
Give
to
us an
be able
example of a way you've honorably treated someone.
that I have treated
Yep.
somebody.
You say you have honor. Do you
Allowing a
treat people with
space for
honor? Give us an
somebody,
example.
allowing somebody a space to speak about something that they feel very strongly about, and allowing a man to speak. I'm just saying this in general,
Letting men
like a
speak is
guy
having
talking
honor.
to me. So what I'm saying is, men do get treated badly for talking about how they feel and expressing that, and a lot of men don't
Mhm.
have the space to do that. What I do, there are times that I don't, but I absolutely will sit there and I allow them to sit there and talk to me if they need to talk about something.
But
And
not
not
me.
even that, but if they bring something to me, I'm very honorable in the sense of, if I need to do something to change my behavior and something I am doing, I am going to work my ass off for it. I'm going to do that to the fullest extent and do the best that I can.
Okay.
Because every human being is always doing the best that they can at any given moment, unless they're actively trying not to.
One thing that I do need to push back on is the idea that there's
Ooh.
individual women having honor, and that's great and everything. I've never said that they couldn't, but generally, if we're using a pretty good example here that I used like, during the show, is there's a social expectation, for example, that men shouldn't hit women. I actually didn't use this one. I used paying for the date, but let's just use this one. With
If
great
I
power
feel
comes
man
great
enough that I'm gonna
responsibility.
hit a guy
Hold
that's
on.
bigger than me,
Hold on.
I feel like I
Hold
should
on.
be hit back in the
Hold on.
face. I'm sorry, that's my personal opinion.
But that's what I'm saying. That's your personal opinion. Societally, overwhelmingly, most women would not even agree to that. You might, which is great, I guess, great. Most women wouldn't
I'm
agree
not
to
gonna
that.
put my
Most
hands
people
on
would
anybody
say,
though, because I'm
with
not dumb.
most people would say that because men are bigger and stronger than women, they have a moral obligation to not take advantage of that strength. Again, great power comes great responsibility. No one says that women, when I say no one, I mean generally in society, there is not this great women should not ever poke the sleeping bear and invite that. There's just none. There is no social expectation that women shouldn't put their hands on men. None. And in fact, if women do, people still look at the man and say, "What are you doing? Like, just walk away, just leave, just restrain her." As if someone just flailing and whiling about, it can just be restrained. It's nonsense, honestly. But the point that I'm making is that, like, and that's just one example. The point is, there are social expectations of reciprocation and treating well the other person that men have to adhere to.
I
I
thought we
can
were
just keep
talking about
listing it
women.
off. Exactly, that's my point.
Oh, okay,
When
but you're talking
asked,
about men.
when Exactly. So listen.
Okay.
So when asked, what are the honorable social reciprocity that women grow up with? As men, we have to be gentlemen. What is a lady? What's the honorable way to be a lady in response to a gentleman? And very many women can't answer that.
So
They can't.
usually, if we're talking about societally and like functionally as within society, it would be have a family, have a kid, be a good parent, be in a family, da 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 da. It would be stuff like that.
So
Like,
being a lady is just being a woman that
that is what
reproduced.
we are. So you're talking about what men
That's
are taught. Hold on, my turn.
so women are taught to
What
exist.
my turn. So what you are saying is, this is what you were taught as a man, a child growing up. This is what you need to be. So this is a lot of times what women are taught that they need to be, and what is pushed on them from society of what they need to be. And there
Women are
are
taught to
times that being a
exist.
mom and being a parent and
Mhm.
having a child is honorable. And there are times that it's fucking not. But what I'm directly commenting to is the fact of what you said about where the honor lies and how you grew up and where it was pushed on. And that's what
Okay.
I'm directly commenting to about where it's pushed on
I wanna
women in that.
I wanna give the ball to our newest discussioner, whose name I can't exactly read. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
It's WhickTV 1993, but
Okay,
fine.
Will
Just call me
Dog.
Will.
Go ahead, Will Dog.
So
You got it.
I wanted to hop back here. Well, let me turn my camera on and turn my light on.
Maybe.
So I wanted to hop back here, specifically about something that was brought up. Oh, okay. Are we good? We're good.
No,
All
we're
right.
good.
Okay, my game just crashed. It's fine. So the whole like 𝕵𝖎𝖎 like Twitch thing came up, and one update to it, she was banned. So obviously Twitch is doing something about it. Good on
She
Twitch.
kind of earned that one. Yeah, she earned that one.
But here's the thing. The reason, at least from my perspective, the reason why seeing something that like what 𝕵𝖎𝖎 did is so like the extreme way is say abhorrent is because Twitch is not like, I mean, Twitch has grown to be more of an inclusive platform, like content wise, but like it's still not looked at as a platform for like sexual content. Like primarily it's about video games. Then you have like the just chatting section, which has been getting a lot looser over the years. But most times it's video games or just discussions, politics, stuff like that. But sexual content's always been kind of pulled back because it does skew to a younger demographic.
Oh, they've censored political opinions all the time, though, right?
And that yeah.
But then they're making categories for hot tub streams, but they're censoring political streams. Okay.
Yeah, and that
wait, I'm just curious. Does anyone oppose the 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖎 ban here? Anyone at all?
Nope.
I mean, I think they should apply their rules in a way that is
if you were in chat,
that people can follow.
if you were in chat and you think the 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖎 ban was too much,
for the incoherent rules.
If you think the 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖎 ban was unacceptable or unfair, unclear, or whatever, if you think she should not have been banned, I want to talk to you. Come backstage. I'll play you in.
Yeah. Let's get a
because I think that there's a discussion to be had here when it comes to honor and women and how they present themselves and things like that.
I mean, shoot, that's a great example. She dishonored herself. Why would you even put yourself in that position? Why would you even display yourself like that as a young lady?
Everyone's fighting to get views. I don't think it's
money
a very honorable thing to do because it is kind of exploiting a loophole and, knowing that there are minors on the website. I find that to be quite dishonorable myself. But I do think that they're so arbitrary in their TOS, so unfair, so much censorship over just ridiculous shit.
But not censorship over that. Because a lot of people have literally shown their full ass pussy and been banned for a day, and then literally they come back.
Like, if there's money
to be made for everybody. Everybody.
I mean, there was literally a girl who was getting fucked on stream. Like you could see it in the reflection of her window, and she got banned for 3 days.
Yeah,
that was it.
There was another girl named 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙 that got banned for like just getting naked and recording OnlyFans content, but she was streaming it instead of recording. But she was banned for a short time.
I think that here's my issue, right? I think that if Twitch had proper age gates, this would be fine, right? If Twitch had proper age verification, if that was a thing, this would be fine. I would see no issue if that's how they want to conduct themselves. Okay, right? They shouldn't be banned for that. But the problem for me is that Twitch doesn't have the proper age gates, and so it's far too a lot
of money from it.
Yes, and it's far too easy for children to come into these streams to see what amounts to softcore porn.
Just out of curiosity, do you mean for streamers or for the viewers? Because I mean, even for the viewers, how would we go
age
about
gates
verifying?
For both? To be clear,
yeah, both.
I
think there should be age verification. I would gladly pay for age verification if it got more kids out of it.
No, 100%. I'm just saying, just out of curiosity, really quickly though, how do we even go about verifying the ages for the stream for the viewers? I mean, even in
ID,
age verification ID, yeah.
Yeah, you have a government have a state issued ID or a driver's
You could
license.
literally have them pay for it too. So many adults would
They don't
pay
want
for
to.
it so
Yeah.
quick. They're like, fuck yeah, like get these kids the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
let's be honest with ourselves here really quickly though. Twitch would lose half their income like overnight, so they're not interested in doing
That's,
that.
I mean, yeah, like I pointed out earlier, Twitch skews up to a much younger demographic.
Yes,
So,
YouTube does.
and that's like the
That's
big
wrong.
reason why this whole like
I just
Mordecai
want to remind
situation.
my viewers. I just want to remind my viewers that I have a standing rule. If you give me $50, I will take my shirt off for this stream. I'm just saying.
Hey,
And if you want me to put my shirt back on, you got to pay me 50 more bucks. That's how that works.
I don't remember if
Standing.
male presenting nipples are a no go on
I've
Twitch.
done it before and haven't been banned.
I think it's
so-
Yeah, I
okay.
think male presenting
I
nipples
think it's
are
fine.
definitely okay.
My God, I never got my
it's
question
not
answered.
genitalia.
Just never got my question answered though. I mean, I'm curious as to how we go about. I mean, even should we do this just for Twitch? I mean, we could also do the same thing for YouTube.
I think
even Hulu
everywhere that there
directly.
is softcore porn should be age gated. Yes.
Okay,
Oh
so
yeah,
you think
like
the same thing for
at least
PG-
like
PG-
have it be
right?
have it be like a more like you guys okay? Who here remembers like video rental stores? Anyone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Blockbuster.
so-
that was
so-
my jam.
There's one left.
So in some, if not most, video rental stores in the way back, there was the adults only section. Now, granted, it wasn't super like secure. It was just literally for my store it was a curtain between that section and the rest of the store. But like if these platforms had a like effectively more secure like adults only section of the website, then this content being on here wouldn't be a problem. Now, but the problem, but
They would
the
just
issue
have
with
to
that,
implement a system that is literally probably already pre-built into what they have done for their coding and implement it. They
Thank
would
you.
get
Or-
paid so much money for
or-
people to pay for this.
There is
I
so
don't.
Or
but-
God forbid,
but-
hold
Sorry.
on, God forbid, women just don't go on Twitch and show their titties. God forbid, they
Oh,
just don't do it.
man.
God forbid.
I mean,
God forbid, they just go to Chatterbait.
Let
I
him
mean,
cook.
come on, like
Let him cook.
the
I'm sorry,
the
let me-
issue that I'm having
Chatterbait
here.
is not as discoverable. First
jump-
off,
that's the, yeah.
It's the 69th most popular website in the world.
That should be the case, though.
Hey.
Like you guys are saying,
I
we
get
should
it.
do all of
Zerze,
this.
Zerze, that's
We
insane.
hold on.
But
Hold on, you
it's
said-
not
Hold on,
even
hold on,
it's
stop.
not
You
what
girls,
they
stop.
do.
Everyone
me
shut
cook.
up for a moment. Everyone
cook.
shut up for a moment. You're saying that's insane, Aaron?
Yeah, I am.
Elaborate, please.
Absolutely. It is insular to the fact that life and humanity has been sexual since the beginning of time, that women's boobs have been on the wall since man could actually print them.
And they
And
can't go to the
it's-
actual place where that's
And
acceptable.
by the way, let me just correct all
we
of
have
your-
those venues.
No, the
No, let
insufferable-
him cook. Let him cook. Aaron, go ahead.
The things that are normalized by human behavior, the incentive of sexuality being that, meaning that sexuality, nobody ever died from not having sex, but the incentive to create and procreate is that sexuality is enjoyable and that people want to look at one another, and it is not. It is not. That is the monolithic thing. People want to look at one another, enjoy one another. You keep trying to add some honor system or valor system that doesn't exist to it, that creates this.
That's not true. It does. That's not true. You know it does
It does
exist.
to
because you talk
individuals
about
at a
consent all the
point.
time.
Anyone
Okay,
finish
so
their
thank you.
point.
So
No one gets to finish a thought. You're already thinking to speak. And this is the other problem. You have no intent to actually listen to anybody or get to synthesis because you're too busy waiting to respond. So cut it out. Hear the elder amongst you and go, oh, who has the healthy mindset here? Who has the healthy sex
your point
life?
is nonsense.
Right over
It's
here. If you
nonsensical.
want to learn how to, you can learn
Zerze,
through experience.
Zerze.
But hey, you want to keep
shut the
talking as
fuck
if
up and
nothing
let
works?
Aaron finish.
Go ahead. That's insanity, my friend. When you express that nothing works and you're the only thing that is in common with that situation, then you are in fact acting insane. That's my point.
Yeah. So I mean, I kind of have to agree with Aaron here. Like we've been drawing boobs on walls for tens of thousands of years. Like it's not
And
going
keep it
anywhere.
on the wall. It doesn't need to be on Twitch.
I agree.
Go to
on
the
people's
appropriate
bodies.
venue.
It's on people's bodies, dude. Are you dumb?
What? I can't go to
I
the
guess- hold on, let me see on
age-appropriate
that. Let me see-
website?
let me see.
Okay,
That's design?
okay.
Wait,
Who
I wanna
here?
make a good point. Can
Who
I make a
here?
good point?
Who here? I'll let you go in a second, Biddy, but I just want to get the lay of the land here. So, who here is Team Aaron right now? Raise your hand. Team Aaron. Aaron's the guy.
I'm raising my hand right
I'm not
now.
entirely clear on what that would be. That would entail.
So he is saying that sexuality is just human nature. Stop trying to create a valor system around it. Stop trying
he
to
doesn't believe that.
make it into a
Yes, the
thing,
fuck he
right?
does.
I don't believe that.
No, he doesn't. You don't believe that. You truly
Are
don't
we
believe
talking
that.
about the whole Twitch scenario? That's a whole
Oh my
different
God.
conversation to be talking about. Is porn okay? We're talking about what's happening on Twitch, right? Or am I lost in the sauce?
No,
right now?
that should be the
It's both.
conversation.
Okay, I want to
Ruby.
hear what Biddy has to say though, because I cut her off.
So I
Biddy, go
wanted to
ahead.
say, first off, it's on people's bodies regardless. There are women that do like photo shoots. Like I used to do modeling before I lost my fucking teeth, but like I used to do modeling and I literally would be wearing a turtleneck, beanie, and like baggy fucking pants. And guess what? You still get videos sent to you of these fucking people jerking off to a picture of you or just your face. Regardless of what's happening, women are going to be sexualized. It's going to be sexualized. Men are going to be sexualized. It's just going to happen. It is an animalistic instinct for that to happen.
Ruby, you
Aaron
seem to
is
have a
right.
problem with that.
No. I'm okay with sexual. I'm just a little confused because I'm totally pro. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a former. I did OnlyFans. I've done all of that shit before. I think it's a very complicated social issue that has a lot of different ramifications. Some positive, a lot negative, but like I don't see any issue intrinsic to porn being negative whatsoever. I think there's absolutely huge issues in the industry.
Sure.
I'm just confused. Are we? So we're not talking about Twitch. Are we just talking about porn now?
We're
Well, we should
talking
be
about,
talking about
Twitch and sexuality. So there was a comment made about like sexualizing stuff that it just shouldn't be happening. Women shouldn't be doing this. And so Aaron brought up a point about that it's literally within human history, all of human history. So that's what it.
I'm sorry. Just
It's correct. It's correct.
On another website.
Can I go next? Or
Okay, no, we're gonna let the
because
new
you
person.
low-key-
New person go
Yeah,
ahead.
you low-key already had a turn. So when it comes to the case of making the case of like what Twitch should and shouldn't do, you have to understand that you're allowed to make a Twitch account at 13, right? You're allowed to stream at 13. If you're
No.
cool with a 13, no. If
You
you're
have
cool
to have a
with
parent.
okay, and if a parent signs off, it's just good.
No,
If you're cool with a 13-year-old doing that, then like
absolutely.
by all
not.
means, like say
I
it's
have a 10-year-old
okay,
and I would
then,
never.
Then fuck that. Okay, we don't allow that on Twitch. That's just how that goes. Like I don't
don't
have.
understand.
I think sexuality is perfectly complicated. I think a lot of people engage with it actually pretty young too, and we should probably have a healthier like relationship with it. But if you're talking about it being on Twitch, at least the shit that I saw, I don't know what y'all saw. The shit that I saw, I'm not cool with a kid streaming that, and kids can stream on there. That's how that goes.
Just out of curiosity, really quickly though. I want to steal man Zerze really, really quickly. I'm sorry about this. Zerze, if what you're saying is women can not wear low crop t-shirts or tank tops, instead wear like a fuller shirt or a jacket, something to cover themselves up, this will alleviate some of this issue, right?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay, well then, what are you saying?
What I said was very, very clear.
Keep it on the walls.
Women shouldn't be coming on, and this is, I will say just entirely, should not be coming on Twitch with no shirt on to show the top of their titties to imply nudity. That's clear and concise. I don't even understand why there's any friction, nor why there's any conversation about human sexuality just being a thing in the first place. There are appropriate venues. Go to Chatterbait, go to Strip Chat, go to what Eggs Hamster, go to the appropriate venue to strip. Go, bye, see you later. Why are you on Twitch?
There's a very
End
small
match.
population of women on Twitch that are actually sitting there stripping.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Second
It doesn't
off,
matter.
It does
doesn't
matter. It
No,
does
it doesn't.
matter. But the
No, it
problem,
doesn't.
shut the fuck up. The problem is that literally Twitch does have an obligation to protect those children. And there needs to be a different system implemented
Or
for it.
women could not do it. How about
Do
they
you
just not?
understand that women? Okay, hold on.
How about they just not go to Twitch and do that?
No, I'm wearing
the
a
jacket's
suit.
coming off.
Watch. I am
demand
flat chested. Listen, I am flat chested. I would not be banned for this. A woman that is breasty could be banned
Okay,
for wearing this on
Are
Twitch.
we gonna pretend? Are we gonna pretend that the
No,
women
I'm
can't wear a
serious.
shirt that covers them up? It's just not possible. Their
Yes,
titties
it
are just
is.
too
It's
big. They
happened.
can't cover
Women
it
that
up.
have bigger tits. It has happened where women get banned if their nipples are showing through their shirt. And they
This is
can't
not
have
bras. Bras don't
They can't have
exist.
that.
They
You
Pasties
understand
don't
that
exist.
Bigger
That is
boob
not-
people do not usually get proper bras, dude.
Okay,
What?
well, that's
What?
that's
There's
literally a
no
skill issue.
way.
Wait, that's literally a skill issue. Okay, learn how to dress yourself. Okay,
I'm
no
saying.
one would
It's not
accept it if
that.
I said
They
I've been wearing
don't
too
have
large of pants for too
sizes.
long.
That's okay.
I'm
Bro,
saying.
I kind of
like-
that's nonsense. Come on.
Yeah,
It's
like,
not
we can't
nonsense. It's actually not nonsense.
we
There
are not
are
telling me that they don't
sizes
make
that
bras for
don't
big
exist
boobs.
for
Is that
women
what
that
you're
have
telling me?
bigger breasts.
Let me
They're-
finish. We can't treat women like they're stupid children. You knew how to dress yourself before you came on stream, and if you didn't, don't come on stream. Come on, that's just no.
Okay,
Or you
let's
get
talk
banned.
about- Let's talk about the
Mork probably knew what
allowance
she was
Let's
doing.
go to Aaron again. I want to toss it to Aaron, then I want to get the new guy.
At least you just said they made a boo on anybody who thinks it's the audience's prerogative to have to choose, or the folks that take part, because it's the platform who could very easily make an 18 and only and prove that you're 18 restriction. I know this. I built a platform that has it itself, not for pornography, but rather for access to rare video and audio. And the reason for that is because some of the audio is restricted. Literally, some things you just don't want kids listening to, even if it's just humor. And that's a thing. And you can check. All they do is send in the ID. Now, if it's faked, you did your best. At least that restriction turns a portion, not all, away. And everybody knows that if you want to find porn as a kid, you're going to find it under your brother's bed.
But there is a question. Here. I understand that Twitch could and should be better about this. I think that's a point. But even if something isn't technically against the rules, right? There are certain behaviors that we can engage in that I think we would all agree that even if it's not against the rules, you shouldn't do it either way. So, for example, if I were to see, right, someone was really, really drunk, okay, was super drunk in my stream, and they were like, oh man, I'm just like, I love you so much, Wick, here's $10,000, and I knew that they were drunk. I should say, I know that's technically allowed, they're technically giving it to me, it's technically okay. I would still say, no, sober up and then give me $10,000, please. But
what's the word for that?
Like,
what's the word for that?
That's exploitation, and we're going to talk about that on that Wednesday. This is the thing that we're going to talk about Wednesday. So I think that hold on, stop, because I haven't got to my point yet. We can criticize women who are engaging in this behavior, even if they are following the rules. We can say, hey, you are over-sexualizing yourself. You are in a space where you know minors are present. What are you doing?
I agree with that. I think that's wrong.
Again, it's not about what the kids see. Like, again, your kids are probably going to, I'm sorry, like, I don't know how people feel, but your kids are probably going to watch porn. It's what it allows the door to be open to. Again, like, would you let a kid be on there? Like, let's bump up the age, 15. Like, would you let a kid stream that? Like, would you let your kid stream that? If Mork did
stream what? POA, I need you to clarify that, because I'm getting
stream their tits
into a little different
stream their tits
territory.
to a live audience of thousands of people.
15-year-old.
Can I reiterate your question? Because I think it's a little unclear. Do you feel comfortable with both of those pieces of content? What is softcore porn and children playing video games being side by side in the same platform with very little wall between? Is that comfortable to everybody on the panel? Because that's the problem I have. That's why I stopped.
That's not what he's talking about.
Can I get in here?
No, you're wrong about my.
I want to toss it. I want to toss it to the guy at the bottom who's new, and then I want to toss it to Top Dog or whoever.
Well, I just want to make it clear that no, that's not comfortable to me, those types of content being next to each other, and they probably shouldn't, but maybe there is some sort of argument to make that they're gonna jerk off anyway. Maybe it's better that it's softcore porn rather than like something that you'd find on Pornhub, right? But I also just wanted to say that while it shouldn't be on there, we need to think about like whose onus is it to make it not happen. It's a little silly to say that women shouldn't do it. And
wait, why is that silly?
How is that silly?
To a degree.
I agree. Like, it's not silly. It's like
to what degree? No,
silly,
Biddy. Hold on.
It is a little weird.
No, I want to. Hold on. Stop. I want Biddy and this new guy. I'm sorry, I don't know your name. New guy and Biddy. Can you be very specific to what degree?
I do think women have an absolute responsibility to conduct themselves on Twitch appropriately for all audiences. I think it is wrong at times for what's happening, because we know logically that there are children on these apps, and I do think that's wrong. And I do think that Twitch also has a responsibility to change things, because as they're seeing their content change and their content creators on Twitch changing and doing different things, I do think that Twitch needs to do something different.
I want to, before I respond to that, and I want to respond, and I'll let everyone else do it, but please, bottom guy, I'm sorry I don't know your name. Can you tell me? Can you tell me your reasoning here? Betty gave her reasoning. Can you give me yours?
Well, I suppose I guess I'm looking at it from more of like like who has, I think, like the legal obligation, if there is any of it. And
we're talking ethical
usually
obligation, first of all.
Sure, ethical. I view ethics as kind of separate from morals, whereas morals are like individual and subjective to each person, and ethics are more related to law. So when I think about it that way, it's when people are misusing sites, we don't go after the people misusing sites. We go after the site. Right? What Twitch is permitting, it's promoting. If Twitch doesn't want the site to be used that way, it's their onus to do something. And even before we should be saying as a just a general prescription, women should be better, women shouldn't be doing this. Even before that, maybe the government should step in and do something about it.
No.
That's like,
hold on, whoa.
I'm just saying.
So one,
I'm just saying that people that we think are misusing it. It's like
let me go first, and then I'll let you all go. I promise you.
Yeah, Wick, let me hit the buzzer, please.
No, let me go first, and I'll let you guys go. Two things. One, the government should absolutely stay out of this. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing. I do not think that it is wrong or bad to say, hey, even if the rules say you can do a thing, if you do that thing, you are still a bad person, or you still have a responsibility not to engage in this behavior that, while again the rules are fine with it, you still shouldn't do it. I think that let me finish.
Especially when there are children watching.
Let me finish. Right? I think it's perfectly acceptable to criticize both Twitch and the streamers who are engaging in this behavior to equal degrees. And while yes, Twitch does have more power and has the ultimate onus of responsibility, I think individual streamers have an onus of responsibility as well, to, even if it's for the rules, and this is where I disagree with you, Biddy, like, we can criticize them. I think it's okay to criticize them. We can say, hey, stop doing this. So where's your disconnect here? And then I want to go to Darius.
I said to a degree where he was,
was
saying like, where women aren't or whatever. I was adding in, I was like, no, women, like people that are, I don't even want to just say women. I've seen men do very sexual things in stream too, but like what happened, usually it's women. But what I'm saying is that women do need to have that responsibility and understanding. If you are a grown person, if you are a grown woman, and you know that this app, and let's say you're one of the top people of this app, you know damn well your audience, you know damn well who's watching, you know damn well the age groups. You do have a responsibility to conduct yourself in a way that is appropriate for those audiences, or just don't fucking do it. And I was adding in that Twitch does also have a responsibility. Like you said, they do have more power, but like morally, like people definitely need to like.
I mean, yeah, but what's going to be the?
I just want
like naturally they're going to be sexualized whether they're wearing a turtleneck or not.
Okay.
It's just going to happen.
Let me get in here just really
maybe,
quickly.
but like
this
seems kind of ridiculous. No, maybe.
I've been streaming on Twitch for 12 years. Whenever I first started, it was Justin TV. I would wear literally hoodies. I would have a beanie, hoodie on, and a turtleneck fucking sweater underneath.
That's different.
And what would happen is I would be sexualized.
But that's
just because I'm a female person gaming. It happens.
That's not really analogous.
Either way, this is an apples and oranges comparison. Number one. Number two, I guess my whole thing is I don't want to get banned here, but we gotta stop treating women like remedial children. They are responsible. They do have agency.
Thank you.
And they know what they're doing. Let's not be coy here. You knew what you were doing when you have like double D36s and you're wearing this really short tank top and the camera's angled down to show all the goods. You knew what the fuck you were doing. Let's not be coy here. And that's all I had to say on that.
Okay, I want to give it to Top Dog, who's been patient, right? And then I want to give it to Zerze, and then I want to go to Aaron and Ruby as well. So go ahead.
Okay, so when I was trying to hop in earlier, it was mainly to point out that 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜 point wasn't seeing, booby streamers and 13-year-olds playing video games in the same site. It was, would you be comfortable seeing both a adult booby streamer and a 13 to 15-year-old booby streamer? He was going for like a pretty exaggerated hypothetical.
I feel like
It's
nobody
that was the
should be
thought
okay
experiment.
with seeing a 15-year-old
Yeah,
like
then it's
that.
TOS. Then it should be banned.
That is no, that actually is TOS.
Yes,
that is
then
mega
then
fucking
it's TOS.
TOS.
It should be banned, 'cause that's
That is
Yeah,
wrong.
if you-
no, adult doing it as well should be TOS then, if that's the case.
Yeah,
because it's
Yeah,
just
if you're
wrong.
not if
There's
you
not a
wouldn't be
separate-
comfortable because of the floor for getting into Twitch is 13, and yes, you have up until 18, you technically have to have parental guardianship approval.
Either in the
But
room or sign
in-
consent towards
yes.
Twitch.
But
Mhm.
but then that means that stuff that even if there is that difference between being 13 to 18 and then 18 above, stuff that adults should do, if kids do, if it's bad for a kid to do it, it really shouldn't be great for an adult to do it on the site, unless there is that immediate hard stop point. And I mean, Twitch does have the mature content warning thing, but like nobody really looks at that and sees, oh, there's going to be boobies or like something on the stream. Most times that's reserved for like profanity, like excess profanity. So like I feel like that warning is not even really enough of a deterrent for the younger crowd to like turn away from the streams.
I have a question for the
Wait,
panelists here.
real quick. Before you ask your question, I got to make one last point. The main issue I have with like Wick, I think you made the point of like we should also expect like women to just do better, and like maybe possibly the issue is that's never gonna happen. I don't like the idea of unwritten rules. Unwritten rules are totally stupid because all that happens is we quibble over the unwritten rules. Write them down or let's not talk about them. Like that's
Right.
all there is to it.
I do agree with the
this is
explicit contracts. I'm sorry, I was next. I do agree with explicit contracts, but just really quickly here, do we believe that XXX website should do the exact same thing? Say that you have to have some type of age verification, or you have to have
Legislators think so, and they have been trying to pass such legislation.
I'm so
And should the
serious.
government
They don't need to
step in for
pass that
something
through
like that?
legislation. They could literally do that on their
Yeah.
website and code it themselves.
I don't even know
But
what
it's the same
They
with
don't
Twitch.
have to
They're not
pass that through
incentivized to do
registration.
that.
I
and
think
neither is
that the pornography sites should have better age gates to keep children off. They should
Mhm.
have better mechanisms in place than that they currently do in order to prevent children from accessing them. I think.
Yeah,
that's
and what's
very
And
taking into
filter
account for everyone.
systems not allowing children to put porn on it as well.
true.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
how?
I don't
Because
even.
essentially you'd be
Well,
taking away
that's a
the
question of
anonymity of the
programming. That's what that is.
No,
That's a
that's
question
not
of
a person.
programming.
Because like I can put in
well,
a,
it is
I can put in a fake.
specifically.
I can put in a fake
Um,
birthday. I've always been able to click that. Yeah, of course I'm 18 button. Like that. Like there's no
We're
way
talking
to
about
like.
Yeah.
like age verified,
Well,
show your
okay.
ID, show identification.
Listen,
Super easy. Just take a
It is
picture of your
very
ID.
easy to implement stuff like that into websites. There are pre-built ID verifications that you can monetize. People will pay for it. Adults will pay for it
What do
because
you mean ID verification? You
And-
mean
and
that
we need
you
to
mean
have
that
that
one
you
legislated
website
show
has
your
like
literal
because
fucking
Pornhub will never
driver's
do it.
license, a verification
me
of
to-
who you are, and usually when you have to do that, your face has to be right next to it. You have to literally
Yeah, I
show
don't
it.
want them to have
You're
my
making an
my
assumption
ID.
that
to be
adults
fair,
will
yeah, exactly. You
Then
would
don't
be
be
Okay, if you
turned
don't
out.
want, that's fine.
You would be.
Then don't
Yeah.
Then you
access
don't
the
do it.
pornography sites.
True.
Yeah,
but
and I guess that's how that works.
But she's making an assumption here. You're saying adults will pay for it. Like
They
how do you
will.
know?
I'm
No,
telling
She's
you,
right. She's
How
right.
do you know?
adults
No,
will
she's
pay
right.
for it. They don't
right.
want children
You
to
don't
be
even have
in
to
that
make them pay
sphere with
for it.
them.
Based
Adults will
on
pay.
yeah, Apple removed the headphone jack from their cell phones. People still buy it. She's right. Like the people that want to buy it will buy it. She's 100% correct. What my response is, it's actually not even to her. I think she made great points. I'm just really upset about the fact that we cannot discuss the fact that 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜, since he's the one who started it, can't go to the appropriate venue. We keep talking about how Twitch is going to prevent all of this stuff. Why is there not a focus on 𝕵𝖎𝖎𝖙𝖘𝖍𝖔𝖜's own character to not do it? Go to the venues that are correct. They are already established. They already exist. Go live stream on OnlyFans.
I like the
Long time.
idea of the world you make, but the reality is this is the real world, and you got to get yours. Okay, if she getting
And
paid
so
off
she
it, she getting
yeah.
paid off it. Like that's
Wrong.
how it works.
Wrong.
And,
No,
and
she
that would
did.
assume that there's like a
She-
universal set of
morally
morality
wrong,
that
and she
everybody
has
agrees
the
with.
culpability.
But
Go
like,
ahead.
Hey,
I
look,
want to hear from.
let
Let me have a back and forth. Let
Stop.
me have a back and forth.
Stop. I want to hear from Zerze to keep going, and yeah, the back and forth. Let that happen.
Can
then
I
wanna-
add
I
something
wanna
to the
have a back and forth.
ID thing
Oh,
real
yeah,
quick
yeah.
before we
Oh,
move on to the next
It's
subject?
still a bad idea, but sure.
Can I add something to the ID
Just
conversation before we move on?
before we
Okay,
go on to the
so
more.
they don't actually, it is done encrypted way with no data saved, by the way. Most of the time, they don't get your info. Tinder has, reading this, somebody sent me this and told me this. Tinder has this feature in states that have legislated for them to do it, but they won't roll it out anywhere else. But also, regardless of that, your information is not being spread. It is just an age verification to make sure you are okay and children are safe.
How
Just
do I
wanna
know
say
that? I'm not a coder.
Yeah, no one
I
trusts
can't.
that.
No,
I
no,
can't
bring it,
walk
bring
into
it, bring it,
I'm
bring it.
letting you
Don't
know.
go down. Don't
Yeah,
pull the
but
The
thread.
more
you're
you
saying
know.
that
Bring it in.
because they
Don't
told
pull the
you that.
thread.
The
So why
more
would I
you
Don't pull the
trust
thread.
them? Why would I
Don't pull the
trust
thread.
them?
No,
Oh
no,
my
no, no.
God.
Bring it in. Bring it in.
Then
Bring it
just
in.
watch
Bring it in.
porn if this is
Yeah, bring it
implemented.
in.
Sucks
Bring it
suck.
in. Bring it in. Bring
Make
it in.
your
Because
own.
I want
Does
to
Morg
discuss.
lack to
You
bring
say-
it back to
literally-
the topic?
Yeah.
Does her Morg doing this? Does it showcase that she lacks honor?
Absolutely.
No.
It's
Yeah, of course.
absolutely. Yes.
don't
I'll
think
tell
I
you
would
why.
say
Yeah.
I
Let me
can
tell you why.
extend
Hold
that.
on, hold on,
Can we
hold on.
get can we
Exploit a
try to
loophole,
agree on a
knowing that children
definition
are
of
watching
honor
it.
if we're
I
going
think
to
it's to a degree with children, yes.
So
But she knows
Mordecai
that
knew what
it's
she
a
was
loophole.
doing.
She knows what she's doing, so there is moral culpability there. I find no issue with any woman doing sex work whatsoever, but she has moral culpability by doing it knowing that there are children on that website.
Thank you.
Aaron,
she
what
could
were
be
you
an
trying to
orphan,
say?
she could be
I wanted to
part of
hear
it,
what
you know?
you had to say, Aaron.
Well, Ruby kind of just mirrored what I had to say. She said it more succinctly, actually, because I'm looking at this from the viewpoint of like the subjective high respect and great esteem. From whose point of view? Because that's what honor is. It doesn't say anything adherence to what is right or to conventional standard, but honestly, our conventional standard is jump in where you get in and get your bag right now. So honestly, is it wrong and immoral? Maybe, yeah.
The answer is
Unethical?
yes.
Totally, absolutely.
Yes.
But is it actually without honor? I can't argue.
Yes, I can tell you why.
Yes.
She
Yes.
knows the rules of the
Honor.
community that she is in, and she
One of white
You know the
purposefully
rules, and so do
went
I.
against them.
Okay, well, can we try
She
to
knew.
agree on a definition of honor so that
He
we
just
can
gave us a
talk about it?
definition. He just
That
gave
was
us the
presented to her.
definition.
That is the literal definition of honor. She's not honoring the code.
Thank
That was
you.
presented
Thank
to her
you.
kind of
Did she
way.
agree to
think
that?
honor
So
can
why
Did she
are we
agree to that
pretending?
code, or
think
was it
honor
just
can
Yeah,
be
she did.
subjective? Do you think
When
honor
she
can be
clicked-
subjective?
When she clicked, no, it can't. When she clicked,
Of course it's
Do
I
you think
accept the
honor
terms
can be
and
subjective?
conditions. No.
It's
We need to beat this. We need to beat this into the
There's
ground.
rules
We
on
need to beat
Twitch
this
for a
into the ground.
reason.
Thank you. Exactly.
so violating
Actually,
any
that's
terms
There's
what
and
she
rules
has
and
conditions you ever
TOS
Stop!
terms on
Stop!
Twitch
One
for
at a
a
time. One at a
reason.
time. One at a
Give me a
time.
second here because I haven't gone in a while. Just 1 second.
Well,
Does this
no,
entire topic about-
$5 is gonna override all of you. The whole point of honor is doing something right in the face of temptation. Obviously, streaming porn on Twitch for money is dishonorable. Thank you for the
Oh,
$5.
facts.
I wish we were in the
Thank you.
same room so I could throw cash at you.
That is an excellent
No,
argument.
hold on. Just really quickly here. Does this entire topic about women and honor prove that bitches are less capable than men?
No, it doesn't. We're talking about one very specific scenario.
less
And if you
capable,
want to
at
talk
the
about
very
the proper
least.
scenario, look at the fucking crime statistics, dude. If you want to talk about overall human behavior, yeah, we can talk about the titty
Oh my
streamer. That
God.
doesn't represent all women, bruh.
Bro, we're talking about a streamer who broke
Delusional.
TOS rules that she agreed to, like Zerze said.
Wow.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
but like we have to also take into mind that these are like highly malicious actors. Like these are not normal women at all. No.
No,
There's
that's
rules
Yes,
on
they
Twitch
are.
for a
They are
reason.
That's a
preying on
malicious
people.
actor.
Yes,
Like that's
they
the one
are
that's
actually.
looking at
They
the
are
rules and
Ruby. They
trying
are
to push
preying
the
on
envelope
people
as
to
far
get
as possible.
money. That
That's
is
There's
what
that's
rules
they're
a
on Twitch
doing.
for a
actor.
reason.
I can kind
Whoever
of get
brought
I'm
up
behind that.
against
the
it.
accepting
Yeah,
the
that's
terms
not a
of
normal
service
woman.
point.
That's a malicious actor for sure. Like
So
I don't like a fine woman.
I'm just
If
saying
you've
that
ever
Someone who uses
violated
very
any terms
strong
of service,
wording
would
and
that mean
thoughts
you're
and
without
negative
honor?
intent.
Ruby, on Twitch, it is exactly that, though. That's exactly what that is. They are preying on people
I'm against it.
sexually when it's against TOS. A lot of times, they are preying on people to get money, and they are doing these things. Now, okay, if they do it on OnlyFans or
The only thing
specific
I'm interjecting against is that he said
categories or
malicious which
or
implies a
specific
malicious intent.
categories where it
But-
falls under for sexual content, then it is not as manipulative or vindictive.
Let the
Okay.
women fight for a moment. Let the women fight. Gang, guys, settle down. Let the women fight before a moment. I want to hear Roby's response to that.
It is predatory.
Like what?
No, I
No, no,
agree. I
she
took like
she
a
took
slight
issue with me.
issue with the word. Excuse me. I took a slight issue with using the word
It's predatory.
malicious. I agree
Yeah,
that it's
the back and forth
unethical,
is with me.
but
It's predatory.
malicious does kind of imply that there's some conniving intent, and I think that
Yeah,
really
there
humans are
is
just
conniving
There
intent.
susceptible. Like,
is.
Yeah,
a lot of
that's
these women are
Ruby, there
severely
is.
mentally ill, are in disadvantaged positions, and
Ruby.
yeah,
yo,
sometimes people
there
are so
is.
unethical.
I'm tired of this. Being mentally ill does not stop you from being a bad person.
People finding
Ruby.
people shit for
You can be
money.
a
I
bad
agree it's
person and
unethical,
mentally
but
ill.
let's
It
just
Let
keep
it
is,
cook.
though.
Holy shit! Let her talk, Biddy. Holy fuck! Jesus.
I don't think it's that
fucking-
deep. They're just trying to get some money, and Twitch is allowing it.
My
Like,
God.
Which
I
is,
don't
But it's
think
not.
you can.
It literally isn't
what they're
allowing
doing
it.
is predatory to an extent.
Can we go back to the super chat though?
It
way
is.
in
It's
which
wrong.
Can we go back to this? Can we go back to the super chat though? Like Zephyr said, honor is doing something right in the face of temptation. So if she's
People don't
streaming
even agree
porn-
on what's right.
Okay, but I mean, if she's
Okay, who here? Hold on, stop. Stop. No,
know what we're
stop.
arguing.
Who here thinks it's right what Morgan, or at least not wrong? Who thinks it's not wrong? What she did was not wrong. Anyone? Raise their hand. Okay, so we all agree.
Why do you say raise your hand and not speak up? Like, I ain't
But
got
that
no hands.
doesn't mean
Okay.
that all women are honorable, by the way.
You can't show your
Yeah,
tits.
well, everyone knows that view is
most of them
absurd.
aren't. Most women are not honorable.
I
I'm sorry.
want to smack
Hold
you.
on a second.
I mean,
I want to
I guess
smack
I
you
don't have
so bad.
too much of a
Turns
It's a
out
problem with it.
preposterous view that
Okay,
is
so
not.
we have one
Everyone
person.
thinks it's crazy when you say
We
shit
have
like
one
that.
person who thinks that he doesn't have much of a problem with what she did. Okay. For the people
I
who
understand.
also don't have hands because they're too afraid to show their faces, what are your thoughts? So, do you think what she did was right or wrong? I don't know.
What she
your
did
name.
was obviously wrong. Like, what kind of question is this?
Okay, so Darius, that's what you think. I'm trying to get what everyone else thinks.
So there's two sides to this. Girls can do body painting with pasties, right? Which is
No,
one thing.
no,
Yes, they can.
they're
It's on
starting to
TOS.
ban it. They're not supposed to be doing that. No.
Well, they used to, but anyway.
Yes, correct. They
There's
did.
one they used to do that, and now
Correct.
that there's girls that are showing cleavage, and they're saying that it's wrong. They're not showing their like their whole, like, you know what I mean.
I don't think the cleavage thing is wrong.
So that's what I'm
To a
saying. There's nothing
degree.
wrong
To
with
a degree.
cleavage.
I think it
to a
can be.
degree, right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's-
they also didn't have a problem with body painting as long as they were wearing pasties at one point.
I think we're being
You know
too.
what I
That was for a short
Okay, hold on.
period
There's
of time.
nothing
So-
inherently wrong with cleavage, but like
No.
when you're not wearing a shirt and jumping around, like can we stop acting like
So-
these are in the same like league of thing?
I don't understand.
Like-
That's what they have to do. Otherwise, they don't have an argument.
Like I'm just saying,
They have
like
to.
we gotta
Yeah.
out here, bro.
But they have to because they don't have an actual
in
argument.
plain
That's,
with talk.
Aaron, go ahead. Aaron,
I
what
got
are
no
you
problem.
trying
Like
to say?
again, like
I think
and
we're
like
jumping
I'm
sharp to the topic here. I think we're missing the doorway for what's behind the doorway. There is a clear and this maybe it's because you guys, maybe some of you grew up with it. This is abnormal to me as somebody who's been on streaming platforms and involved with that stuff since before some of you were born. Literally, this is weird to me. Pornography has always been separate. Even the titillation side, even the softcore side, it's always been 9 o'clock curfew. You aren't watching it after that point. Somebody's going to always watch it. Yes, we know. Forget about that little caveat of it. That's obvious. Somebody's going to get past the wall. But the point is that, yeah, it is wrong for somebody to do it. Is it dishonorable under those terms? Not really, because the terms are set that makes it kind of okay to do. So that by those terms, it's not dishonorable. It is only dishonorable to someone's morality.
only
because they
if
do
the
it.
TOS is your
In a
morality.
sen-
though.
yeah, when
Oh, my
her
bad, my
being
bad. You're still
banned,
going.
Right?
with her
And here's
being
the point
banned though,
The point is that we expect the platform to separate these things and not have them so damn close to one another, where someone like myself who just wants to stream on the platform is literally can't get past what looks to be porn to me. And I don't look at that shit because I don't need it. I got an imagination. And it's like, why are the kids sitting there playing video games next to it? And why is there so many debasing other shows? Forget about the porn. The crazy debasing shows that I found that are meant for really, different kind of mindsets. Performance art that is closer to Gigi Allen sitting there next to kids playing video games. And it's just, I'm sorry. I find that the point where it's like, hey, the platform should be saying, this doesn't belong here. Just like they made it so you can't stream movies. Boom. And that's the thing where
this is what I don't understand. Like, that's literally what I've been saying the entire time. Why are we all looping back to what I said from jump?
Well, because
She shouldn't have been
But he
doing it
also
there.
was
the honor of
disagreeing
women,
with you,
Jake,
Zerze.
total honor
Because
and
That's
also
what
he's
I.
like
That's
he's
my
trying to-
point. Why is he disagreeing with what I said if he's gonna come back around to what I
That's
said
not what
from
he
the
was
top?
doing.
No, not at all. Not at all. And as a matter of fact, I don't agree with what you're saying because it's not the onus isn't to me, not on the individual. If you're going to say I can do something, and test it, and they show that you can test the
Wait,
water.
hold on, Aaron. I
So-
think
so
you're
that
wrong.
means
Hold
you
on,
don't even
stop. I
understand-
think you're wrong, Aaron. If today it became legal to kill and murder someone, you would probably still not do it, correct?
Absolutely, yeah, because that is wrong. We should
Yes,
know that.
yes,
We
yes,
should-
yes, 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 yes.
No,
Fair enough.
I
So
agree with you on that. We should.
when even if someone says, even if a government would say this thing you can do is legal to do, there are still certain things that even if they were made legal, we would say, hey, I'm not doing that anyway because that is wrong to do. And I think
This
this
is
is in
way
the
more
same
morally
category.
subjective.
I
than
think that
something
even
like
if
murder.
even if
Because
Toss
it's legal.
even
Because
if
it's
Toss made it okay for her to show her whole ass boobies on stream, okay, her ass and her boobies at the same time, even if that was acceptable by Toss, right, for them to be able to do this on a stream which might have minors in it, I would think that would be immoral and wrong to do. Even if it was legal, even if they wouldn't get banned, even if there would be no negative consequences, I would judge them for doing that. Do you disagree?
I don't disagree with that because that's the way I felt about it.
Okay.
But I think that
Real
because the
Smith.
platform is there. Wait, hold on. Let me finish.
Sure,
Because the platform is there, just like morality is not law and not always involved with law. Something that is legal, most of us will say, yeah, murder is bad. It's legal, but we still shouldn't do it. But there's still going to be the people that are going to go, oh, it's legal though.
Okay,
And
two things.
Sure.
Two things. Real Smith for 250 bits. The thing that's wrong is that she was using it to advertise her actual porn. If she wasn't doing that, I think you could argue that it's not much worse than a typical music video or a magazine cover. Fair enough. And second, Zerze is right when he says that's what he's been saying. Zerze's been saying that there are standards that, regardless of legality, regardless of Toss, regardless of the merits, or not the merits, regardless of the written rules, that even if a rule is unwritten, we should still honor certain things and not do certain things. Is that a fair recitation of what you've been saying, Zerze?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
But there was a point as well where you're saying that overall women are just dishonorable.
oh well, fair enough. You could disagree.
If you let me, okay. If you want me to continue with Mordecai here,
Wick did want to
extent-
read
I
something
can't, I
though.
can't.
Wick was trying to read
Oh,
something
boy.
before that.
Oh, I already read it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we read it. Listen, what I was saying here, and this is what seems to trigger a lot of people, is that Mordecai, as a woman, as herself, with full understanding of these rules, that's why she knew to cut it off and imply the nudity. That's why she did it, because she knew it was wrong. Why can't she, with her own code of conduct, honor, and integrity, go to the appropriate venues? I don't know where the counter argument to that is. What, she won't make as much money? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't everyone agree with that? I don't. Is
But they
anybody-
haven't
you can
been.
go to OnlyFans and you still make money.
Really?
It's
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
so-
idiots on Twitter who will say fucking anything, dude. I got called a Nazi like 80 times this week for saying that men are better at chess. Literally.
Wait, what? Hold on, what?
Yeah.
Hold on, we gotta
women
explore
like
this.
call you a Nazi
Are
for
men
that?
better
No.
at chess?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, I
No.
think so.
Yeah, a majority of
I
the
literally
grandmasters
think so,
aren't.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
yeah,
ties into
overwhelming.
like
No.
the side of the
Like,
brain that's better at
overwhelmingly.
math. More men are better at math.
No.
Well, there's also more
No.
freakishly
No.
male
Yeah.
geniuses.
I don't
on the
know if
island.
this is
That's
true.
No.
That's actually a thing.
No.
I don't. I know that's a thing maybe here
I
in America,
disagree.
but I'm pretty sure like isn't in the Middle East like a lot of their STEM isn't a lot of their STEM field being filled out by like women? Like I
Yeah,
feel like that's
because of
only like a
diversity.
cultural thing. I don't
Yep.
think that's like
I don't know about that.
No.
I don't know if
it's
that's
not
like
a
a
But
cultural
the
I'm
question,
in
the
the
question I
United
would
States,
have,
so I'm
Hold
saying
hold
shut
on,
up
Hold
hold
about
on.
it.
Again, I'm not sure about that. Like
The question I would have on this, right, is what we are seeing, because I can understand that almost all the top players in the chess world are men, but that is not by and of itself enough to indicate to me that men are better in chess. What it would indicate, perhaps, to me is that men are socialized to be into chess more, right? You don't
Interesting.
have women usually
Are
growing
they?
up
That's what I used to believe
into
too.
chess. And in fact, I've known pretty high up chess players. There is a culture in the chess world that really pushes women out. And
Yeah,
I
I was
would
gonna say
wonder,
women
in
are
my
heavily socialized
my
IQ.
argument might
Men
be,
have freakishly high IQs, which draws them to certain games
No.
like chess. If you look at the way our IQs are distributed, it's not even. There's more men on the low ends and more men on the high ends. That's why you have
so
so
men
many
are
men with
smarter
extremely
just
high IQs that
naturally
are
in your argument.
no.
Hold on, I want to be
No,
clear with
they're
your
not
argument.
disagree with
necessarily
that.
Hold on,
smarter than your average
stop. I
men,
want her
but
to
yes,
be
there
clear
are
with
more
her
male
argument.
geniuses, just statistically.
Yes or
I
no?
mean,
Yes or no? On average, okay,
Yes.
at the high end
your
spectrum,
average
are men
woman is
smarter?
smarter than your average man, but there's more male geniuses and there's
More
more
male,
male
so
idiots.
more
This
men
is a
are
known
high
fact.
IQ
for
than
every
women. Okay,
for every
gotcha.
one woman you see with an IQ above 130, you see like 7 men. For every one woman you see with an IQ above 170, you see 30 men. This is a very well documented phenomenon. I'm surprised you guys
It's
haven't heard of
true.
Tut.
And that affects chess because
Are we gonna
there's
ask
a
about biasing in
huge
the
correlation between IQ and chess. That's my guess. I can't be positive, but and obviously my inclination as a feminist would be to look at the socialization angle. But the more I researched into it, the less it seemed like that was probably the cause of the disparity. So I changed my opinion.
Women
That-
brains are just dumb.
Yeah, that's
Gotcha.
reasonable.
No,
right
no,
there.
Ruby. While that is definitely a percentage of it, there is also like a thing that like at least a lot of the chess players that I knew, like my chess coach, he would talk about like how like a lot of women are actually like they're kind of like it's like when you drop a girl into like a card shop. It's just like
Yeah, there's
they're all
stereotypes
gonna hit on
that
it.
women
Yeah,
do
like it's
perform less based on that. Yeah,
Oh
there's all
no,
kinds of
it's a lot more
confounding
pressure.
variables,
It's
but
very
I
like
feel like the
weird.
bulk disparity is due to the IQ differences. Sorry.
That's most of it. Yeah, I mean, like
Biddy, what do you think of that? Biddy,
Okay, I'm a little confused about the card thing. Could you explain that for a second?
Oh, it's like when you drop a. It's like when I said
I'll be right
it's
back.
an
I have to go to the
example of
bathroom.
like
So
when you
sorry.
drop a girl into a card shop, or maybe when you drop a girl
A
into like
card
a 40K
shop?
like
yeah,
Magic
like,
the
or
Gathering.
like a 40K shop, like a Magic the Gathering shop, or like a Yu-Gi-Oh
Yeah?
shop. It's like it's something akin to that like phenomena where they get made to feel like uncomfortable, or they like take it all up as like they're like the queen of like all these like weird nerds. That's
No,
like
yeah,
kind of
that's
how,
that.
yeah.
I'm the second category, but not actually the queen. But I worked for
yeah.
like a store called Vintage Stock, and we had cards and like old like records and comic books and shit like that. So like I was
Cool,
very
cool.
confused, mainly
Oh no,
because of my experience.
yeah,
But I don't
I
feel that
understand.
way.
Like, yeah, there are some girls that can like get in there and they can really hang, but a
That
lot
was
of girls
just my
are like heavily
expertise.
put off by it.
Okay,
Yeah,
$5 from Zephyr
do get that.
Hash. $5 from Zephyr
Sorry.
Hash to say average IQ is the same, but there are more men in both high IQ and low IQ parts of the spectrum, and less men near the center of the IQ spectrum. I'm going to make the brave stance here, right? That there is no inherent benefit or penalty to having a male or a female brain. Your smarts and education are largely, in fact, mostly a product of your upbringing, your very early upbringing. Now, this isn't to say that there is no biological issue with this. There obviously is. Like, again, you can inherit being smarter, right? Just by virtue of your birth. But that isn't broken up. That isn't broken up by gender, right? And what we see with the gender thing is almost entirely societal. Unless anyone wants to argue that with me, does anyone think that women are just
so
naturally dumber?
I think there are definitely
I have
biological differences
there
that
I can
influence
speak
our
on it.
IQ. Absolutely.
I'm sorry, Oxford is saying that between almost 100 years of testing of IQ, all three major studies show that there's little evidence of any average difference in intelligence between boys and girls or young adults. However,
On averages, but if you break down the data and actually look at the graph, you will see the differences.
there are slightly more girls than boys in these samples around the average scores, and proportionally more males and females at the higher and lower extremes among the cognitive domains. So
the
it
only
says that
thing, hold on, the only thing we know for sure is that kidology can't use a computer correctly. True. Fair enough. Okay, we're gonna.
True.
But anyway, gang, unless I get more subs and bits and stuff, I'm gonna cut this because I'm hungry and I want to go do other things. But you can bribe me to keep going, so we're gonna go for another 10 minutes. And if I don't
all this
get
cooking
enough
we be
subs and super chats and bits, I'm just gonna end it. But
I,
keep
I,
going.
I actually I need to hop down, but the only thing I
Bye-bye.
really want to point out is that honor is not gender related. Honor is personality and character individually made. And Zerze, you know, anytime you actually want to talk offline about positive sexuality, positive dating practices, and the things that might be having a problem, come on, give me a call, because I have
No, we'll
a
debate
lot
it.
of life
We'll
experience.
debate. I think you're wrong.
No, I
I
don't
think you're wrong.
debate
But
things that
we'll
have to
debate.
do with your health, man, because this has to do with your
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong.
Okay,
Come
I
back.
know you're
We'll set up a debate,
Hey,
and
listen to
it'll
your
be
elder,
amazing.
okay?
Yeah,
Oh
not
my
only that,
God.
it's
Old,
not even that.
he's
but
old. Okay, boomer.
my
Okay, boomer.
tail
Oh,
tells me
I'm gonna hit you up
God,
with. I'm gonna hit you up
Oh,
with.
Opinion
God,
This
really?
is why you're
disregarded.
perceived
I'm gonna
so
hit you up.
terribly.
Really?
You're
I'm gonna
shit.
hit you up
Yeah,
with the
Really?
okay,
bro,
boomer.
You are
my
a
brother in
loud
Christ,
singing
my brother in
man.
Christ, you sound like an incel. Like, I'm just gonna keep it
For
100.
real.
No,
I'm gonna
okay.
keep it
Hold
buck
on,
48 with you because
wait,
it only
wait,
makes
wait,
2
wait,
cents.
no.
Wait,
bro,
Let's
yeah, don't
let's
do
argue
that.
this
Don't
point.
do
Let's
that.
argue this
Fuck
point.
out of
You say
here.
you sound
Bro,
like an
you make,
incel. How so?
you do. Bro,
Because
listen to
How's
you're
so?
constantly
You sound
blowing.
like you're in a fucking
You,
basement.
You
you
sound like
like
you're soft. You
because the
sound
problem
like
is
a
that
fucking bitch. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro.
Okay,
okay,
let's
okay.
hot dog
I'm
now.
gonna,
Let's hot
I
dog
want to
now.
can I actually answer his
Somebody
question
can
because he
Stop,
Yeah,
hot dog,
Somebody
answer
can
the
bitch.
question.
Will
Donate.
yeah, come on.
I want
Bye,
this to keep going.
bye, Aaron.
Good.
Bye, y'all.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, be safe as well.
So yeah, so the reason why
I like
I'm
him.
saying you sound like an incel is because you harp on about. I was listening earlier, and you're talking about how like you know you talk to women and they don't and like
And he told a fucking lie.
like
talk to women.
like
That does,
no like
Hold on,
like
give him some space to answer the question.
no, give me some space,
Stop,
bro.
give
All
me
right,
some
hold
space to
up,
answer the
I'm
question.
trying to
Let
recall
him
what
cook.
happened. All right,
Okay.
I was playing some games, so I was half in, half out. All right, but like actually, you know what? Okay, so the problem is you were being given advice or given a chance to accept advice from someone to help better your romantic your relationship life and such, and you're just outright denying it. But then you go on complaining about about women either not having honor or like saying one thing but meaning the other, and when you're given contradictory evidence, you completely just nullify it, and like that kind of like that's part of an incel mindset because it's basically not seeing anything that could possibly help your situation. Like,
So
hold on, before you respond,
no, let me get the back and forth.
No,
let me get the back and forth.
but I want to go because this is interesting to me, and I want to hear Ruby. Why do you think he's an incel? If you think he's an incel, first of all, do you think he's an incel? Yeah, do you think he's an incel? No. Okay.
I don't
Biddy,
think so. And also, I'm very empathetic to incels.
Sure.
So I wouldn't have
think
any
he's an
issue with
incel.
You think he's an
I think
incel?
he's
Why
an
do you
incel.
think he's an incel? Quickly.
I don't think he has any concept of a lot of women and how actually women operate and shit. And I think he's just basing things on just bullshit. There are times, obviously, that I agree with what he's saying, but how he frames things is very incel dumb.
Incel. He talks like an incel. Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Bottom guy.
Girl,
I don't get to go. Okay, cool.
We're gonna get to. We're going clockwise.
We know how you feel.
So we want to drop down. We want to drop down to 𝕐𝑒 or Cairo.
Well,
𝕐𝑒 first. 𝕐𝑒's then Cairo.
I don't know if
All
he's
right.
an incel. But
Don't know if he's an incel. Okay, Cairo. Is he an incel?
Like, I don't think he is, but like, you would do so much better if you could take things with a little grace. And I
Okay.
feel like you don't take things with grace, which makes you look really bad.
Okay,
Kinda
other
like-
bottom guy.
How ironic.
All right.
You're
No one here has extended
actually
me any
type of
grace.
guy.
We're gonna
You're
get
like,
to it.
actually.
Look, I've been very charitable to you. Okay.
Oh no, you're fine. You were excellent.
Okay.
I'm
You're
talking
all
about
else
generally.
Darius,
No.
why is he an incel?
Because he sounds like a bitch. I mean,
There
he
you
sounds
go, see?
soft.
I
He
didn't
doesn't
say
have
that.
any bass in his voice.
But
Okay.
You sound like you don't know
look at
anything
Okay,
about
sorry,
women.
I
at
didn't
that.
mean to skip you
Do
guys.
you see what I mean?
I just can't see the names with the stream remote
Oh, it's
enabled.
okay.
What?
No, it's
Do you
fine.
think he's
He
an
just
incel?
sounds like a bitch.
Mantis. Yep.
Yeah,
No,
Mantis. Do
I
you
need
think he's an
grace.
incel?
That's crazy.
I don't think he is. I just think he could maybe take advice from people when he's given it. I mean, he says stuff in a way sometimes that maybe people perceive it the wrong way, but like Ruby said, sometimes things he says are
Okay. Now,
perceived the wrong
Xerxes,
way.
now
So
you
let
can
me
respond.
All right.
please.
Now
See,
Xerxes
so
can
everyone
respond.
keeps saying, I love it, thank you. Everyone keeps saying you're not taking the advice. One, I didn't ask for advice. At no point did I ever ask for
Well,
advice.
Aaron said that if you
Two,
needed to talk,
no, hold
that's all he said.
on. I said that he was wrong. And you say that I'm an incel because I think he's wrong. I don't agree
said
with him.
you're
I didn't
not.
agree. I didn't even agree with him in what he said about honor. And it should be fine for me to say I do not agree with you. I didn't say that he was
Yeah, no,
stupid. I
that
didn't say he
makes
was
sense.
bad. I didn't say he was terrible. I didn't insult him. I said I do not agree.
Right.
That's just number one. Number two, you guys keep on saying, but you're not taking any advice to improve your situation, your standard. One, I'm not asking for advice. No. Two, I don't need any advice. I'm the one who gives out the advice. I'm the one that's been helping other people. I'm the one who already understands all these different social dynamics. I'm the one commenting and talking
How
about
many
it.
men
And
have you
all I
gotten
have
laid?
ever
What the fuck
done,
do you think
and
everybody
all
else
and
is
all
doing?
and all and
This
all
guy,
I
I'm trying
have
to give
ever
him
done,
advice.
Hold up, let him finish.
all
I'm
I have
better
ever
than
done.
everybody else because
Hold up,
I'm
let him-
doing this and
Again, no
everything
grace.
else that
Let him
Again,
finish.
everybody's
Let him
doing.
finish. Let him
Hold up,
finish.
I'm the one.
Let him finish.
No, again, I'm the one who needs to have more grace. But this is what happens, right? All I ever have
You
done
sound like a
is just
condescending
look at
ass.
And then you
Bro.
got Poof. who
Okay,
did just
Zerze,
a
I didn't
citation
tell
for
you.
that.
I didn't tell you to take the advice because I honestly don't think you need it. I see you got your smell goods up there in the corner. Okay, I see you got your. I see you got a
Mhm.
clean room. Okay,
No,
I
no,
see.
I love how you're not arguing the point. There's
Hold
no
up. Oh
argument
no,
here.
Oh my
I love
God.
It's
that.
coming. It's
I love
coming.
how
You gotta
there's
chill.
no
It's
argument.
coming.
So,
Look,
Zerze,
this is
shut
what-
Let him
up.
talk. Let him
Let me
talk.
finish his
You have no
point.
grace.
No,
I'm literally telling you, I
Shut
don't think you
up.
need advice, but you can tell people that you disagree with them with some grace. That's all you need. You don't need to. You don't need to go at anybody with like jagged teeth. You good.
Ooh.
You chill, homie.
Why
Like,
are we
I'm
taking
telling you.
shots? These
How come
things?
you're not taking your own
Like,
advice?
I'm telling you, you good. Like
So
you
you guys,
already
so
got a
you
way that
guys,
you
so
roll.
you guys
You
give
already
me
got
the
a way that
smoke.
you
Here's
roll.
what I
And
find
I
crazy.
and I like, hey yo, I
Okay.
support you. I fuck with it. But like to be clear, you didn't have to tell him off like that. Like you had to.
Tell
You
him
could have
I
some
said I
grace.
don't
That's all.
agree.
But
It's the
Zerze,
way
I'm
you
not
said
gonna
it,
lie to you,
bro.
bro.
And like
I'm
you
not
acting
So
like
now
you don't
you're
know
tone
that.
policing. So here's what I find crazy.
Yeah, that's
Hold on,
grace,
Ruby.
bro.
Hold on,
You're
Ruby.
like,
Hold on,
okay, I'll
Ruby.
debate
Hold on,
you.
Ruby. Hold on, Ruby. Hold on, Ruby.
You act like tone don't mean nothing.
Thank you,
But like
thank you.
let
This
somebody
is
talk
this
to
is
you
what's
some
crazy.
type of
no,
way.
This is what
Zerze, you
crazy.
have no
This is
kind of
what's
rhetorical
crazy.
finesse.
Oh my God.
Shut up.
Poof,
Zerze, you
poof,
have no
right next to
rhetorical
me.
finesse.
Look
You
at
have
Zerze,
this.
no
people
Look
are
at
trying
this.
to tell
Look
you,
at this.
slow your
Look at
brakes,
this.
dude. You don't have brakes. That's
He
what
talks
they're
a lot.
telling you. Chill
This is
out.
what's crazy. This is what's
And he
crazy.
keeps going.
Look at how Poof responds. All this name calling, all this nip and nab, all this stupid, all your dusty,
What you gonna
all
do
of that.
about it?
All I've done is disagree with you people. That's
The fuck
all
up.
I've done. I haven't name called anyone. I haven't insulted anyone. All I said was
Because
I
you don't have any
disagree.
hair on your chest.
I'm the person though who not only needs grace, so you say, I'm also the old person who needs advice. I'm also the person, right, that needs to
You have
listen
a
and
clitoris
respond.
for a heart.
I
You
ain't telling
guys
you
Every
to
are
single
advice.
putting
person does.
forth
I
Zerse,
ain't
you know
telling you
what's
to
arguments.
advice.
happening? Zerse, you know
You
what's
don't need
happening?
advice.
You
I'm
Hold
keep
on,
telling you, you
saying
wait.
you're
don't need
tone
Zerse,
advice. You
policing.
Zerse,
just
you
need
know
some
what's
grace.
happening? You're the squeaky wheel. You're the one that's
Mhm.
being the most out of pocket in some ways. Where people, hold on, listen.
But he
What
can
I'm saying,
insult me.
listen, shut up.
Yes,
I'm
I
trying to give
can.
you an
You could
analogy.
say,
You are literally the squeaky
as he
wheel.
insults
You
me.
are the
Okay.
squeaky wheel where people are going to start attacking you because of your
Mhm.
opinions. Everybody else is like on a different level of like what they think about something, and you're just like everything that they're saying is no, I disagree. No, I
Okay,
disagree.
Because
No, I
they're
disagree.
wrong.
And
And
so
with
you
that,
start
Okay for them to
kings,
be
kings and
wrong,
queens,
and they
even if
are.
people
kings
are
and
acting
queens.
worse than you.
I'm going
You
to
sound
throw
like
a
a
flag on the play
condescending
here.
ass.
I'm throwing the flag on the play, gang. It's been real. It's been fun, but
What are you gonna go get to eat?
I'm about to lose all my honor by listening to this. Thank you.
What are you gonna get to
I
eat?
want to thank you to Zerze, and I want to thank you, Ruby, especially for coming on. I also want to
No,
thank
Ruby
my
was awesome.
audience for sticking with us, right? Please. So if you're watching this and you like this show, hit that like and subscribe button. If you're on YouTube,
Send a super chat.
if you're on so super chats, all
And
that.
the bit
If you're on Kick, if you're on Twitch, subs, hit that follow button. What do we got coming up? Tomorrow's going to be Collins until 8 o'clock. So from 6 to 8, we're going to have Collins. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going on to Admiral Gibbs' show. He wants to have a show. He wants me on. So I graciously decided to go on that. So that'll be tomorrow. And then Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we have not to 𝕾𝖎, we have Lav, we have Brittany Simon, we have Fairy Queen, and we have Rora Pickles, and they're going to be talking about whether or not OnlyFans is more exploitative
Yo.
streaming in general.
Let me get the smoke with 𝕲𝖎𝖙. Come on, bro. Can I get the smoke with 𝕲𝖎𝖙? Let me get the smoke with Lab. Let me get the smoke with these people.
If they want to talk to you,
I'm
I will
sorry.
absolutely
Let
set
me
it up.
get
I will
the
have
smoke.
a
I disagree with
Xerze
that.
versus the
He
women
he
panel.
got
I
all
will
the bullshit.
absolutely set that up.
Let me get the
Here we
smoke
go.
with all of them.
But for now,
Will said he want the bullshit.
but
Will
for
said he
now,
want the
I want the
bullshit.
Wednesday is going to be something
my
different.
God.
Wednesday is going to be something
Oh
different. Okay,
God,
just letting you
Wednesday's
know.
gonna be a
And then Thursday we're going to have is Trump a threat to democracy? And we're going to have Drone Tech on here, and we're going to have Drone Tech. We're going to have Average Debate Enjoyer, and they're
And I'll
going
be
to
on
be
that one too, Wick.
opposed by 𝕲𝖎𝖙, and then we'll have maybe one other. We're trying to get a couple people into help
I'll be there
𝕲𝖎
too,
out.
Wick.
But that's the conversations. That's what we got coming in. But for now, I'm going to end the stream because none of you gave me money at the end.
Wait, what are you getting to eat? I need to know.
I don't know yet. I
Damn
haven't
it.
decided.
I
I don't plan.
I always
I might go to
ask.
McDonald's.
Just
I'm
like a
real with you. I might just go to
No,
McDonald's.
go Taco Bell, man. It's Taco Tuesday.
Taco Bell is too far away. Okay.
Taco
This
Bell.
will be your
damn.
schedule.
Anyway, I'll see you
Wait,
later.
it's
All right.
Monday.
Bye
What are you
bye.